Testing audio, testing movement. Okay, it seems we're good. Hello everyone, this is Gundam Ace, aka John Hooper. I'm here with my streaming of Rebellion Secret Games second stage. When we last left off, Hitomi turned on Shuhei and Kotomi due to their obsession with Shuhei and jealousy of Kotomi. But Yuna dropped in and saved them and brought Shuhei and Kotomi over to join with her team. And everyone else are off on their own or in their own teams. So now we're about to begin, and let's see where they go from there. Okay, here we go. If I had a gun in my hands, I'd kill everyone I saw. Shuhei used to think that all the time as he looked at the world around him. In the end, how grave of a sinner was it to be a murderer? What about those who killed for pleasure? Those who killed in the heat of the moment. Those who killed out of some mental illness. Those who killed against their will. Normally, the gravity of murder was judged based on the various motives that led to it. They were in a country of laws. It was only natural. So in that case, in the end, how grave of a sin was it to be the family of a murderer? In a country of laws, that was no sin. It was only natural. And yet, his mother had been tormented with that sin. Shuhei came to understand that after spending some time in the orphanage after he'd lost his mother. It had happened right around the time his father, who had been serving life in prison, committed suicide. Shuhei had never known his father. At the very least, he had no memories of the man. His mother had shown him a picture of him many times while she was still alive. In hindsight, the face of that man smiling as he wrapped his arm around his mother's shoulders looked a lot like Shuhei's own. Naturally, he looked at his father with much interest and admiration. But one day, your father is a murderer. A boy 3 years older than Shuhei lived in the same orphanage as him told him that. It wasn't only the kids. Even the staff members who served as his parental substitutes treated Shuhei as though he were a tumor. Even in his child's mind, Shuhei could clearly tell they were giving him special treatment. For example, on Christmas, A Santa would come to the orphanage to give presents. The staff members beamed as they watched the children swarming for presents. But the moment Shuhei closed in and reached out for a present, everything just seemed to stop. The kids and adults all watched Shuhei's face and movements with the eyes of a hawk, and Lem did what he wanted first. It was best not to pick a fight with the son of a murderer. The boy had the genes of a murderer in him. Unconsciously, everyone but Shuhei believed that. They all believed it to be a sin that he was a murderer from birth. Shuhei investigated all the records at the time related to his father's crime. Many domestic media outlets painted his father as a cold-hearted cutthroat. Through that, he caught a glimpse of the suffering his mother went through that he'd never been able to pick up as a child. Even so, it didn't make sense. Shuhei had been able to learn things about his father's relations with others and upbringing from newspapers, yet Shuhei, the man's own son, didn't even know those things. But it wasn't like Shuhei had wanted to learn his father's past and the crime he'd committed. Though the incident had been scrutinized from every angle over and over again, the details Shuhei wanted to know weren't there. Had he done it for money? Was he driven by desires? Had it been the result of some personal issues? Many speculations fluttered about, but in the end, his motive remained a mystery. If I had a gun in my hands, I'd kill everyone I saw. Shuhei used to think that all the time as he looked at the world around him. If everyone is punishing me for an invisible crime, then I'll kill them with an invisible gun. Shuhei held an invisible gun and killed anyone who passed him by. Yesterday was 15 people, today 20, and tomorrow 25. That was all the boy could do to rebel against an unjust society. His revenge against the irrational God who had taken away his father, mother, sister, and the one place he belonged away from him. He literally massacred everyone he came across. Men, women, young, old, no one was spared. He killed the same people over and over again. People he met for the first time were dead in an instant. However, no matter how many he killed, he was never satisfied. Since the gun in his right hand wasn't actually there, not a single drop of the blood that would have satisfied him was ever spilled. As a result, the boy's seething resentment deepened day after day. As time passed, the staff and children's fears they would become a murderer someday had changed to any day. Shuhei had become a raised firing hammer. Treat him wrong, and he'd hurt someone. Thus, everyone avoided him. Inside or outside the orphanage, Shuhei was completely alone. And then one day, when his bloodthirst was at its peak, Shuhei came across a girl playing alone at an empty park at dusk. It was a park near the orphanage that was filled with many children during the day. But at this time of day, when the curtain of night was beginning its ascent, there were very few to be found. That made the lone girl quietly building a sandcastle in the sandbox an oddity. Shuhei had never seen the girl before. Her clothes made it clear she wasn't one of the kids from the orphanage, but rather a well-off family. Vile emotions in Shuhei's heart reared their ugly heads at that sight. No one's watching. There's no one around to hear her cry or scream. That was the perfect chance to become the murderer he'd only been able to be in his fantasies up to this point. The girl bore no sin or impurity. She probably lived a peaceful and carefree life under kind parents. So he'd kill her. He'd kill her for no reason. Just like Shuhei himself was. So that Shuhei could get his revenge on the unjust society and irrational god that had taken everything from him. Shuhei unconsciously approached the defenseless girl's back. Noticing his presence, the girl turned around to him. Shuhei looked down on the girl with dull eyes. The girl looked up curiously at the mysterious boy with pure eyes.
Oi, omae.
Hey, you. Huh?
なあ、俺と一緒に遊ばないか。一人じゃつまらない。
You wanna play with me? It's gotta be boring all up. Yeah. Shuhei was a bit surprised by her instant answer. The girl happily flashed him a wide smile, beaming like the sun. The stupid, defenseless girl. She kept smiling innocently, unaware she was about to be killed. Hey, what do you want to play?
そうだな。とても楽しいことだ。
Good question. Something really fun.
楽しいこと？
Really fun?
ああ。今から俺がお前を。
Yeah. You see, I'm
殺すんだよ。
gonna kill you.
殺す？
Kill me? Confused, the girl frowned and began to think. Feeling like he was a wall faced with a girl straight out of a fairy tale, Shuhei smirked slightly. His mind swirled with fantasies no boy his age should ever have conceived. I'd wanted to blow out her brains with a gun, but that was a pipe dream. Instead, I'll strangle her thin little neck and watch as her face twist with fear. police will probably never believe a kid like me killed her. Besides, we've never met, so there's no reason they'd be suspicious of me. That list of sinister thoughts sublimed into a perfect murder plot. Shuhei quietly kneaded it together as he coldly stared at the girl restlessly running around. The unknown girl's future was now a candle in the wind. However... Oh, I get it. Before Shuhei could extinguish that flame, a cheerful smile appeared on the girl's face and she clapped her hands. You mean killer tag. You're the killer, and I'm the victim. If you catch me, you kill me, right?
Huh?
Huh? She has totally the wrong idea. It seems she had taken Shuhei's words the completely wrong way. Okay, I'm running now. No, wait. Here I go. The girl bolted towards the entrance of the park before Shuhei could say anything. His mind couldn't catch up to her sudden actions. Hey, wait! There's people that way! Shuhei frantically ran after the girl. If she went somewhere filled with people, his perfect plan would go up in flames. But no matter how fast Shuhei ran, he couldn't catch up to the girl. Though she was a girl, there was little difference between their bodies when it came to strength as kids. Shuhei chased after the girl, shrieking in joy as she ran around, a desperate look on his face. Any outsiders who looked would have thought they were just two normal kids who'd gotten so caught up in playing that they'd forgotten they were supposed to be home by now. The literal chase of life and death continued until the sun had gone completely down and the two were found by a policeman on patrol. Ever since that day, the girl would be waiting for Shuhei when he went to the park in the afternoon. She'd follow Shuhei around and insist on playing with him. This continued for the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that one. Shuhei found himself at a loss for what to do with this girl who kept following him. And eventually, he realized he had lost the invisible gun somewhere. That was how the two started playing together. Day 3. Right then, Shuhei felt light on his eyes. Huh? He rubbed his eyes as his mind slowly returned to reality from the realm of sleep. I see. So I was dreaming, huh? Shuhei stretched out and shook off those worldly thoughts. He couldn't afford to lay back and sleep at a time like this. It was 7 a.m. He spent the night under Yuna's kindness in the mountain hut. This was the third day of the game, so this was only the second time he'd awakened to this life. Still, so much had happened in the last 2 days that it felt like an eternity since he'd been able to sleep soundly. Ow. The wounds he'd gotten from Kurokawa's thrashing still stung. They weren't severe enough to impede any future activities, but he was black and blue all over, with enough pain left to go around.
みんなはどこだ?
Where is everyone? Kotomi, Mariko, Yuna, and the girl named Yui were supposed to be there, but there was no response when he called out to them. Had they gone to find cubes? Wondering that, Shuhei opened the window to take a look outside. It's so cold. He was faced with quite the incredible scene. The girls were bathing in a river. This is... Shuhei took deep breaths over and over, trying to calm himself down first. Once he did, he slowly took another look out the window.
とりあえず夢じゃないよな。
This isn't a dream, is it? Shuhei poked the bruise he'd gotten yesterday.
痛い。
Ow. Shrill voices resound on the other side of the window. Just then, Shuhei realized something important. Wait, why does it matter if it's real or not?
俺としたことが深く考えすぎたか。
How embarrassing. Guess I was overthinking it. Sighing with self-derision, Shuhei straightened out the lapels of his uniform. He then leaned firmly against the wall and gave in to his youthful curiosity.
やっぱり外は寒いね。
Wow, it's cold out here.
朝は冷え込む時期だしね。それは諦めてもらうしかないわ。
It's the season of chilly mornings. You have to accept that.
今は水浴びができるだけマシだと思わなきゃ。
Bathing in cold water is better than nothing right now.
でも、ちゃんとしたシャワーが欲しいよ。
But I want to take a shower.
空いたペットボトルでシャワーを作ればよかったかもね。
You could have made a shower using an empty water bottle.
ペットボトルの底に小さな穴をいっぱい開けて。
All you'd have to do is pop small holes in the bottom of the bottle.
ナイスアイディア。
Oh, nice idea.
だけど、もっと早く気づいてほしかったよ。
But I wish we'd realized it sooner.
贅沢は敵よ。諦めなさい。
Luxury is the enemy. Just give it up.
ちなみに、どうしても細かい水が欲しいなら、私がユイにかけてあげるわよ。
By the way, Yui, if you really want a little water, I'll spray some on you. How's that?
なんか嫌な予感がするし、遠慮しておく。
That sounds rather suspicious. I think I'll pass.
ユイちゃん、こっちきつい。落ちちゃう、落ちちゃう。
Whoa, Yui, you're too close. I'm gonna fall.
ごめん。
Oh, I'm sorry.
ちょっと狭いわね。だから交代でって言ったのに。
It's a little cramped here. This is why I said we should take turns.
だけど、あまり悠長にしてるとシュウちゃんが起きちゃうかなって。
Yeah, but I figured she would wake up if we took too long, so...
狭いのはユーナさんのお尻が大きいから。
No, it's cramped because Yuna's butt is so big.
ん今なんて言った？ねえユイ、今なんて言った？
Huh? What was that? Hey Yui, what was that?
そのことみちゃんの胸は大きいなって。
I said Komi's breasts were so big. That's all.
別にそんなことないと思うけど。
Huh? I don't really think that's true.
いやいや、なかなか立派なものよ。少なくとも私の人生の中では最大ね。
No, she's right. They're a real piece of work. They're the biggest I've ever seen at any rate.
いいなあ。私もそれくらい大きかったらもうちょっといろいろアピールできるのにな。
I'm so jealous. If mine were that big, I'd be a little more appealing.
でもあんまりいいことないよ。
But they're not all that good.
可愛い服とか着れない時もあるし。
I can't wear cute clothes sometimes because of them.
そうね。逆にユイのこれくらいの大きさなら選択肢もいっぱいあるんじゃない？
True. On the other hand, breasts like Yui's must give you all kinds of options, yeah?
ゆうなさん、ちょっと。
Yuna, what are you doing?
いいじゃないの。減るもんじゃないし、逆に増えるかもよ。
It's okay. They're no big deal. Or maybe they are.
本当？
Huh? You mean that?
揉めば大きくなるって言うしね。
They say they grow bigger if you rub them.
それならちょっとだけ。
In that case, I'll give it a try.
やっぱり無理。ダメ。
On second thought, never mind. I can't.
ういやつよの。
You're so damn cute.
二人ともあんまり騒ぐとしゅうちゃんが起きちゃうよ。
Guys, she will wake up if we make too much noise.
あ、そういえばことみちゃんに聞きたいことがあったんだ。
Oh, now that you mention it, I have a question for you, Kotomi.
ことみちゃんって周平くんとどこまで進んでるの？
How far have you and Shuhei gone? Huh?
別にそんな。しゅうちゃんとはただの幼馴染だから。
We're not really like that. Shu and I have just been friends since we were kids.
おっと、これは面白ネタ発見かしら。
Whoa there, now that's quite a juicy little nugget.
なんでもないですよ、本当に。
It's not like that, really.
それじゃあ付き合ってないにしても好意はあると。
So you're not dating, but you like him. Is that it?
それは。
Well,
これ以上なんか気まずいな。
it'd be wrong to watch any longer. Peeping wasn't itself wrong. That was besides the point. Shuhei would feel quite awkward overhearing Kotomi's feelings. Just then, Shuhei heard a voice.
藤田くん、何やってんの？
Fujita, what are you doing? Shuhei spun around to find Mariko standing in the entrance of the hut.
まさか覗き？藤田くん、そういう人だったの？
Were you peeking? Is that the kind of person you are?
違う。これは
No, this was just...
というか、どうしてマリコさんは水浴びしてないんだ？
Wait, why aren't you taking a bath?
私は外で裸になるのなんて嫌だから保持したのよ。それで戻ってきたら藤田くんが。
I didn't want to be naked outside, so I turned him down. When I got back here, you were...
じゃなくて、ごまかさないで。
Wait, don't try to change the subject.
あの子たちが水浴びをしてたとわかるってことは、やっぱり覗いてたのね。
If you know that they're taking a bath, then you really were peeking, weren't you?
違う。音と声から推察しただけだ。
No, I just guessed from the sounds and voices.
そんなわけないじゃない。みんな、ここに覗き目がいるわよ。
You think I'll fall for that? Guys! We've got ourselves a peeping Tom! Mariko screamed and cited more voices from outside.
覗き魔ってまさかシュウちゃんが？
Huh? You don't mean Shu, do you?
意外にスケベなんですね。むっつりドエロですね。
I never would have taken Shuhei for a pervert. Guess he's a silent pervert type?
あいつね、寝たふりしてやがったのね。後でちょっと締めとくわ。
That bastard was only pretending to be asleep, huh? I'll make sure he pays the price. Mariko's voice then turned cold.
どのことよ。ユーナさんの裁きを受けなさい。
And there you have it. Accept Yuna's punishment. Shuhei groaned and slumped his shoulders in resignation. After Shuhei received a punishment kick from Yuna, the girls finally calmed down and done bathing while faced Shuhei.
それじゃ、ふざけるのはここまでにして、ぼちぼちシリアスな話をしましょうか。
Okay, we're done fooling around. Time to get serious.
ああ
Right.
まず周平、琴美。改めて聞くけど、昨日までの行動について詳しいことを教えてくれる？
First of all, Shuhei and Kotomi, let me ask again. Can you tell me in detail what the two of you did up until yesterday?
君たちはあそこで何をしていたの？
What were you guys doing there?
俺たちはあの時4人の仲間と行動していたんだ。
Back then, we were in a group of 4.
これは他の連中も同じだろうが、キューブを見つけて食料と武器を集めながら他のプレイヤーと接触する機会を探していた。
I'm sure the others are doing the same. We were looking for cubes to gather up on supplies and weapons while hoping to come across other players.
4人。他の2人は？
4? What happened to the other two?
その一人が瞳。例のメイド服の彼女のことだけど。
One of them was Hitomi, that girl in the maid outfit.
あいつとは途中で仲違いしてあんなことになっていたところをユーナに助けてもらったんだ。
We had a falling out and were about to be cornered when you showed up and saved us.
彼女、本気で君たちを殺そうとしてたわね。何があったの？
She was seriously trying to kill you guys, huh? What happened?
説明は難しいな。少なくともゲームに関係することじゃないのは確かなんだが。
It's difficult to explain, but at the very least, it has nothing to do with the game.
おそらく彼女の個人的な事情によるところだと思っている。
I think she's got some personal issues that led things that way.
きっと私がシュウちゃんを置いて逃げたのを見て、ひとみさんは怒ってるんだよ。
Tomi must have been mad when she saw that I had left you and run.
だからって殺されなきゃならない理由にはならないだろう。
Still, there's no reason to kill someone, is it? Shuhei felt it was more like Hitomi was jealous of Kotomi, who was always by his side. Still, it felt difficult to attempt to apply common sense to Hitomi's actions.
頭のネジを何本か置き忘れてきちゃった感じか。
Sounds to me that she's got a few screws loose.
あいつはこの先も琴美の命を狙ってくるだろうから、今の俺たちにとって一番危険な相手だと言っても過言じゃない。
She'll probably keep trying to kill Kotomi, so it's no exaggeration when I say she's our greatest threat right now.
何か事情がありそうね。詳しいことは本人に直接確認してみないとわからないけど。
Seems she's got her reasons, but I won't know the details without asking her directly.
まあどんな理由にしたって案内物を振り回すやつが私にとっても要注意人物かしら。
Well, whatever the reason, someone swinging around a dangerous object like that is grounds to keep an eye on her. Mariko took the opportunity to speak up.
それであともう一人は？あと一人って伊藤君のことでしょ？
So what about the other one? It must have been Ito, right?
ああ、そういえば琴美、すっかり忘れてたが、大輔はどうしたんだ？
Oh yeah, now that I think about it, I totally forgot. Kotomi, what happened to Daisuke?
あいつはキューブの探索に参加しないで集合地点で休憩していたはずだが。
He should have been resting at the rendezvous point since he passed on helping us look for cubes.
それが私にもわからないの。
Yeah, I don't know either.
しゅうちゃんに逃げろって言われて集合地点まで戻ってきた時にはもう姿がなくて。
By the time I got back to the rendezvous point when he told me to run, he was already gone.
そうか。
I see. The relationship with Daisuke had soured ever since they'd heard Tsukasa's accusation. Perhaps Daisuke had realized that and thought it was best to leave the group. But if that were the case, it only increased the credibility of Tsukasa's theory that Daisuke had gotten rough with Hatsune.
じゃあもう一人の仲間は行方知れずってことでいいのかしら。
And I take it you don't know who your other teammate is?
ああ。
No.
結局みんなとはバラバラになっちゃったね。
In the end, we all split up, huh?
みんなのクリア条件は競合してないんだから本当は最終日まで一緒に頑張れたはずなのに。
We all had compatible clear conditions, so I thought we'd be working together until the last day.
他のプレイヤーと出会えても仲間で居続けることは難しいわよね。
Well, even if you meet other players, it's hard to stay together.
私も仲間を増やしたいんだけど最初に出会った一人には逃げられてしまったし。
I want more allies too. The first person I met ran away from me.
でも私はユーナさんから逃げたりしませんよ。
Well, I won't run away from you.
私も命救ってもらったしパートナー登録もさせてもらっちゃったし。
Me neither. You saved my life and let me register you as my partner. It appeared the three girls had already formed a bond of friendship. With that thought, Shuhei spoke his most pressing question.
ところで逆に聞くが、ユーナたちのこれまでの行動はどんな感じだったんだ？
By the way, speaking of which, how exactly have things gone for you guys up until now?
まあいろいろあったから簡潔に説明するけど、まず私は説明会に出るより仲間探しを優先して行動してたの。
Well, it's a long story, so I'll keep it simple. First, I prioritized finding allies over going to the briefing.
その途中でまず変な刀好きのちびっこに襲われてね。返り討ちにしたんだけど逃げられちゃった。
During that time, I was attacked by this shorty obsessed with swords. I managed to beat her at her own game, but then she ran away. Shuhei frowned when he heard about this person he'd never met before.
刀好きのちびっこ？危険人物なのかそれは？どんなやつだ？
A shorty obsessed with swords? Sounds dangerous. What was she like?
黒髪で黒いセーラー服着てて妙に刃物の扱いに慣れた女の子よ。
She's a black-haired girl in a black school uniform who was oddly familiar with swords.
そんなに悪いやつじゃなさそうだけどかなり変わり者って感じの。
She didn't seem like all that bad a person, but she was a weirdo, that's for sure.
なるほどね。じゃあユイさんは？
I see. What about you, Yui?
私はその辺りでユーナさんと出会ったんです。
It was around then that I met Yuna.
それまで真島さんって男の人と一緒に行動してたんだけどなんか捨てられちゃって。
I was with this guy named Majima up until then, but I guess he ditched me.
真島さん？そいつはどういう人だ？
Majima? What was he like?
正直よくわからないです。とりあえずすごくぶっきらぼうな人でした。
I'm not really sure, honestly. I guess you could say he was a really blunt guy.
あと体が大きくてそうそうボクシングをやっていたそうです。
He was also pretty well built. Oh, right, and it seems like he boxes.
ボクサー？真島か。
A boxer named Majima, huh? Shuhei carved this new information into his head. There was hard to tell if this Majima were dangerous or not, but the boxer of a large body was not someone he wanted to make an enemy of. Just then, Mariko interrupted.
私は昨夜も少し話したけど、朝メモリーチップ集めから戻ると藤田君たちの姿がなくて。
I mentioned some of this last night, but yesterday morning, I came back from gathering memory chips only to find you guys were gone.
代わりに金髪の大男が現れ、私に銃を突きつけたの。
Right after that, this muscular blonde guy showed up and pointed a gun to my head.
金髪の大男。
A muscular blonde guy?
ひょっとして黒川正樹って人？
Wait, was that Masaki Kurokawa?
あ、二人とも知ってるのね。
Oh, you guys know him?
ちなみに私もその人に会いました。確かに黒川さんと名乗ってました。
By the way, I met him too. He called himself Kurokawa, so I'm sure of it.
さっき話した真島さんになんか恨みを持ってるらしくて、いきなり襲いかかってきたんです。
It seems he has this grudge against Majima because he attacked him as soon as he learned his name.
そうね。でもその恨み云々は置いといても、あの男は明らかに危険人物よ。
True, but grudges and whatnot aside, he's still an obvious threat.
人を傷つけることや殺すことにためらいがないっぽいし、格闘技は素人っぽいけど、ガタイはいいしね。
Doesn't seem like the type who will hesitate to hurt or kill someone. He may not be an expert in martial arts, but he's built like a tank.
そう。でもユーナさんはその男たちから私を救ってくれて、そして今に至るっていう感じだったの。
Right. But Yuna saved me from those guys, and then I ended up here.
なるほどな。そっちの状況は大体つかめてきた。
I see. I think I more or less get the picture of you guys now. Shuhei nodded once Yuna's group had finished their story. Thanks to that, he got a somewhat complete picture of the other players. Including the 5 of them right here, there were the 3 from the briefing, Daisuke, Hatsune, and Tsukasa, and Haruna, who'd suddenly vanished. There was also a girl with an affinity for swords, Majima the boxer, the blonde man Kurokawa, and a guy with glasses who seemed like his henchman. And then there was Tomi. With her, that made 14 players. After going over that in his head, Shuhei looked at Yuna.
それじゃ、ここからが本題だ。
Okay, then let's get to the main topic.
なあ、ユーナ。あんたは何が目的で俺たちを助けた？
Just tell me, Yuna, why did you save us?
ただ命を救ってくれただけじゃない。初対面でクリア条件も分からず、信用も置けない俺たちに寝床と食料まで与えてくれた。
It's not just about saving lives. You gave us food and a place to sleep even though we'd only just met and gave you no reason to trust us. You don't even know our clear conditions.
義憤に駆られただけってわけでもないだろう。それにしては、あんたは大きなリスクを背負いすぎている。
It's not some kind of righteous indignation that drives you either. You're taking risks way too big for something like that.
説明してもらえるんだろうな。
Can you tell me why?
ええ。それが約束だったものね。
Yes, that I can promise you.
私の目的は誰一人として死者を出さないことよ。それ以上でもそれ以下でもないわ。
My goal is to ensure that not a single person here dies. Nothing more and nothing less.
それがこのゲームを最短でクリアする方法であり、14人のプレイヤー全員が生存する唯一の手段よ。
That's the quickest way to clear this game and the only way for all 14 players to survive.
だから
むやみに他のプレイヤーを傷つけようとするやつは力ずくでも阻止するし、話ができそうな人には協力を呼びかけているの。
That's why I obstruct anyone trying to hurt other players, regardless of who they are and by force if necessary. I also ask players who seem willing to talk for their cooperation.
プレイヤー全員の生存か。前提として14人のクリア条件が競合しないことが必須だな。
All the players survive, huh? All their clear conditions will have to be compatible for that to work out.
その通り。あなたたちがこれまでに遭遇したプレイヤーの中にクリア条件が競合した人間っていた？
That's right. Have any of the players you've come across so far had any conflicting clear conditions?
いや、一人も。
No, not even one.
つまりそういうことよ。
And there you have it.
このゲームはね、全員が互いを信頼して協力し合えば生き残ることは容易なのよ。
You see, if all the players in this game trust each other and work together, it's easier to survive.
だが俺たちはこれまでに2度も命の危険にさらされた。
But we've been life-threatening danger twice now.
あんたが口で言うほど簡単なこととは思えないが。
I think what you're after is easier said than done.
そうね。実は私も信頼なんて言葉に頼って現実から目を背けるつもりはないわ。
You're not wrong there. Truth be told, I have no intention of using the word trust to turn my eyes away from reality either.
だから言うことを聞かない人間は痛めつけてでも聞かせるつもり。
That's why I intend to make people who won't listen to me listen. You don't have to do it, you don't have to hurt them.
最悪最終日まで拘束しとけば済む話よ。
Worst case scenario, that includes tying them up until the last day.
ね、簡単でしょ。
Well, simple, isn't it?
なるほど。友愛の精神についてどんなご考説が聞けるのかと思ったが。
I see. I thought you were going to give a spiel about the power of friendship, honestly.
でも私もユーナさんの考えはある意味正しいと思うわ。
But, in a sense, I think what Yuna's saying is right.
状況を考えればそれもやむなしなのかなって気になるもの。
When you consider the situation, it may be inevitable.
そうだな。俺が思っていた以上にあんたは現実的な人間みたいだな。
True. You seem more pragmatic than I expected.
まあね、納得してもらえて嬉しいわ。
I guess so. I'm glad you get it.
でも驚いたわね。こんな話をしたら普通驚くなり呆れるなりしそうなものだけど。
But I'm surprised. Most people react with shock and exasperation at my idea.
私は何とも思いませんでしたけど。
Huh? But I didn't think anything like that at all.
いや、それはユイがゲームについて何も考えてなさすぎなのよ。
No, that's just because you're thinking way too little about the game.
そんなことないよ。
What? That's not true.
私だってちゃんと考えてるよね。ねえ。
I may not look it, but I am thinking hard about it, right? Right? Yui looked to Shuhei and Kotomi for approval. They just smiled wryly at her. Shocked by their reactions, Yui's shoulders slumped.
だけど、その様子だと周平もゲームの趣旨にある程度気づいているみたいね。
But judging from your behavior, Shuhei, I guess you've gotten a bit of a grasp on the game's point too, huh?
今はまだ推測の域を出ない。俺と同じことを考えていたやつならもう一人いたみたいだが。
Just speculation at this point, really. And it seems like there's one more guy who has the same ideas as me.
そう、なかなか優秀なプレイヤーが集まってるわね。
I see. Sounds like some rare superb players have been rounded up.
それで
And?
何？質問には全部答えたはずだけど。
And what? I thought I answered all your questions.
いや、あんたは一番大事な部分にまだ答えていないな。
No, you still haven't answered the most important one of them all.
言うな。あんたは何者だ？そんな情報をどこで手に入れた？
Just who are you, Yuna? Where'd you get all this information?
確かにこれまでの状況からゲームについて推測できた部分は多い。
I admit there's a lot you could have guessed about the game just from your observations so far.
だが推測はあくまで推測だ。根拠なんて何もない。
But speculations are just that. Guesses. There's no solid proof.
あんたはその全てを家庭の話としてではなく断定してみせた。
You talk about all this like it's fact, not hypothetical.
そう。その物言いはまるで
Yes. From the way you're talking,
過去にもこのゲームを体験したことがあるような。そんな言い方に聞こえたが。
it's almost like you've played this game before. Doesn't it sound that way? Shuhei stared right into Yuna's eyes. He was warning her that no lies would be excusable.
そういえば私も思ってました。どうしてユーナさんはゲームについてそんなに詳しいんだろうって。
Now you mention it, I've also wondered how Yuna knows so much about the game.
なるほど。やっぱり優秀ね。でも違うわ。
I see. You really are superb. But you're wrong.
私はこの情報をネットで見たのよ。
I found all this information on the internet. What?
ここに拉致されてくる前にね。とあるアングラサイトで見たゲームと状況がまるっきり同じだったのよ。
Before we were all grabbed, I found this underground site of a game that matched up perfectly to our current situation.
ゲームのあらゆるルールやクリア条件が一字一句たがわずそっくりそのまま。
All the
今
rules,
私たちの身に起きていることと同じだったわ。
all the rules and clear conditions were word for word the same as the game we're all playing right now.
今思えばそのサイトはゲームの生き残りが主催者の目から逃れて真実を世間に知らせようとしていたのかもしれない。
Now that I think about it, maybe that site was made by survivors of the game, trying to inform the world the truth right under the organizers' eyes.
だから私はそのサイトで見た情報を元に話してるの。
So I'm basing everything I saw off the information from that site.
これで納得してもらえたかしら。
Does that satisfy you?
ああ、ユーナの事情は理解した。
Yeah. I understand now.
なるほどなるほど。すべての謎は解けたですね。
Now I get it. That explains everything.
アングラサイトか。インターネットとか詳しくないけど、そういうサイトもあるのね。
An underground site, huh? I'm not very familiar with the internet, but sites like that really exist, don't they? Yui and Mariko seem convinced, but Kotomi raised an eyebrow.
ねえ、しゅうちゃん。
Hey, Shu. Kotomi studied Shuhei's expression with worry. She was quick on her feet and had good intuition, so when she heard Yuna's story, she couldn't help but find it fishy. Shuhei gave Kotomi a firm nod. When he did, Kotomi looked away with understanding. Naturally, Shuhei didn't swallow Yuna's story. Even if her source was the internet, it didn't explain her knowledge of weapons or combat skills far greater than the average layman. But Shuhei didn't try pressing her any further. If the truth about Yuna was precisely what he suspected, she had nothing to gain from lying to him. Rather, it only put her at a disadvantage, meaning it was more logical to assume there was some reason why she couldn't tell him the truth. In that case, it'd benefit both sides if Shuhei and Kotomi pretended they'd bought her lie.
質問は以上かしら。
Is that all your questions?
他にも話しておきたいことがあるんだけど。
There's other stuff I'd like to talk about.
ああ、大丈夫だ。
Yeah, I'm good. Shuhei put his thoughts on hold and urged Yuna to go on.
さっき私の考えに賛同しない人間は力ずくでも服従させるって話をしたわよね。
Remember how I said force anyone who didn't agree with me to submit, even by force if I have to?
ああ、
Yeah.
だけど私一人で残りの13人を抑え込むなんて現実問題として不可能だわ。
Thing is, it's practically impossible for me to suppress 13 people by myself.
だからできればここにいるみんなにも私に協力してほしいの。
So I'd like all your help if possible.
別に私と一緒に戦えって言ってるわけじゃないわ。
Just so we're clear, I'm not asking you to fight with me.
この先何が起きても誰も殺さずに、そして最後まで生き残って。
No matter what happens from now on, don't kill anyone and survive until the last day.
私からの頼みはそれだけよ。
That's all I ask of you.
誰も殺さず、そして殺されるな。
Don't kill and don't die, huh?
簡単に言ってくれるな。
Easier said than done.
そうね。面倒を押し付けている自覚はあるわ。
Yeah. I know I'm pushing a tall order on you.
だけど全員が生き残る方法があるならそれが一番でしょ。
But if we have a way to keep everyone alive, we should take it, right?
そうですね。誰も死なないのが一番いいに決まってます。
You're right. Of course it's for the best if no one dies.
誰だって痛いのは嫌だもん。
Yep. No one likes getting hurt.
ああ、そうだな。
Yeah, you're right.
ただそのためには今のままじゃダメね。
But we'll never accomplish this the way things are now.
どういうことだ。
What do you mean?
自分の目的のためなら他のプレイヤーに危害を加えかねない連中がたくさんいるってことよ。
I mean there are many who will likely hurt other players for their own ends.
危険なプレイヤーか。
You mean dangerous players, huh? At the present, the first one of those who came to mind was Hitomi. Her astounding physical capabilities aside, she also had a very abnormal and incomprehensible mindset. Next was Kurokawa, followed by the assailant with the crossbow who had injured Kotomi. And there was one more, Tsukasa. It was unclear whether he was friend or foe at the moment, but if the group ever opposed him, he'd likely be a formidable adversary. These four in particular required a close eye.
この先キューブの数が減るにつれて食料の奪い合いが起きるわ。そうなってからでは手遅れなのよ。
As time goes on, there'll be less and less cubes lying around, meaning fights over food will begin. When that happens, it'll be too late.
そうしないためには今のうちから好戦的なプレイヤーの行動を封じておかないといけない。
We need to obstruct belligerent players now to ensure that doesn't happen.
ユーナ、それに関連して一つ頼みがあるんだが。
About that, Yuna. I have a favor in regards to that.
何よ急に改まって。
Well, that came out of the blue. What is it?
もし他のプレイヤーと争いになった時、それに対応できる力が欲しい。
If other players pick fights with us, I want to have the strength to resist them.
昨日、それを痛感した。
I became painfully aware of that yesterday.
だから俺に銃の扱い方を教えてくれないか。
So could you teach me how to handle a gun? Yuna's face was stern. It was a natural reaction for someone looking to nip the buds of any potential fights. Fully aware of that, Shuhei bowed to Yuna.
まあ別に反対はしないけど
Sure, I guess I don't really mind.
身を守るために武器は必要だし、いざその時になって動けないようじゃ意味がないもの。
We need weapons to protect ourselves, but there's no means to that if it means we can't act when the chips are down.
相手がやる気だったらなおさら。ただ無防備に構えているのは愚策だわ。
especially when you're up against someone asking for it. It's stupid to leave yourself wide open to them.
それでも一つ心に留めておいてもらえる？
Still, keep what I'm about to tell you to heart, alright?
銃を万能だとは思わないで。
A gun is not omnipotent.
確かに拳銃一つあればどんな素人だって大きな力が手に入る。
A single gun can give even an amateur great power. That's a fact.
だからといってヒーローになったなんて思わないでね。
But don't go thinking that makes you a hero, alright?
所詮人間一人が守れるものなんてたかが知れてるんだから。
In the end, it's merely a tool to protect others. Don't forget that.
ああ、肝に銘じておく。
Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. How much can I trust Yuna when it comes down to it? If Shuhei's theory was correct, she'd been through this game in the past. If that were true, then she was speaking the truth. She's spoken of keeping everyone alive as her goal, and he learned her true intentions. That didn't rule out any other possibilities. For example, perhaps she was a traitor that had been planted by the organizers to make the game more interesting. But many of her actions contradicted that theory, so the odds of that were slim. Perhaps because she picked up on Shuhei's thoughts, Yuna pulled herself together and continued.
それじゃ少し休んだら射撃訓練でもしましょうか。
Okay, then let's take a break before we do some firearms training.
周平だけじゃなく他のみんなもね。
Not just for Shuhei, but everyone.
私たちも？
Us too?
なんか怖そうですね。
That sounds scary.
もちろんあんたたちが実際に銃を使うような状況にはならないようにするわよ。
I don't actually expect you guys to ever be put in a situation where you have to use a gun, of course.
でも万が一の時のために覚えておいた方がいいでしょ。
Better safe than sorry in case things go south, right?
そうね。あくまで護身用と考えれば心理的抵抗も少しはいるかな。
You're right. I would just think of it as self-defense training. Maybe I won't be so adverse to the idea.
わかりました。私も頑張ります。
Okay, I'll do my best.
素直でよろしい。琴美もそれでいい？
Glad to hear it. You okay for that too, Kotomi? Yes. Kotomi did her best to hide her fear. Shuhei's heart throbbed at the sight. Whether he trusted Yuna or not, all he could do for now was heal his wounded body and prepare for any upcoming fights. One wrong move and he risked not only his own death, but also exposing the most important person in his life to danger.
それじゃあ頼むぞ、ユナ。
I'll be counting on you, Yuna. Shuhei meant that in all sorts of ways. Yuna gave him an equally meaningful expression and nodded. And then, after they'd eaten, Yuna's firearms training began on a flat plain in front of the hut.
じゃあとりあえず射撃のいろはから説明していくわね。
Okay then, I'll start with the fundamentals of shooting.
とにかく基本は標的に当てたいときは必ず止まってから撃つこと。
Basically, when you want to hit your target, you have to make sure you stand completely still.
移動しながらだと素人じゃまず当たらないから。
An amateur won't hit their target if they try while moving around.
映画みたいにはいかないってことですね。
So don't do it like the movies, essentially.
そういうこと。
Bingo.
射撃の当たる当たらないはいかに理想的な状態で撃てるかに依存するわ。
Whether you hit your target or not depends if you can shoot in an ideal condition.
だが、いつでも落ち着いて撃てるとは限らないだろう。 昨日ユーナが見せた抜き打ちはどうなんだ？
I won't always be able to fire when I'm calm, right? How do I shoot the moment I pull the gun out like you did yesterday?
あれは慣れないとまず無理。昨日のはまあ距離も近かったからできたって感じ。
Never try that if you're not an expert. As for yesterday, well, I was able to pull it off because I was so close to her, I guess?
なるほど。抜き打ちは危険か。よし、覚えたわ。次は？
I see. So shooting like that is dangerous, huh? Okay, I'll remember that. Next?
そうね。じゃあ次は銃の持ち方について。
Let's see. Okay, let's go over how to hold a gun next.
まずは人差し指を伸ばして銃を作って。それで狙いを定めてみて。
First, try stretching out your index finger to make an imaginary gun and take aim.
こうですか？
Like this?
ええ。その方向に弾が飛ぶから指先から弾が出るイメージで、あとはそのまま銃を握るだけ。
Yeah. The bullet will fly from that direction, so imagine a bullet firing from your finger. Also, keep that pose and grab your gun.
あと左手は右手を包み込むように添えるのを忘れずにね。
And don't forget to wrap your left hand around your right hand.
簡単でしょ？
Simple, isn't it?
なるほど。確かにしっくりくるな。
I see. You're right, it does work well.
よろしい。そんじゃあ次は銃の構え方ね。
Good. Then next we'll move on to shooting posture.
射撃の体勢は複数あるけど、とりあえず立射を覚えればいいと思うわ。
There are multiple shooting poses, but I think we should start with the standing shot pose for now.
立った状態で撃つってことですか？
You mean shooting while standing still?
そうそう。まあ立射にも複数あるんだけど、分かりやすい2つを教えるから好きな方を選んで。
Right. Well, there are several standing shot poses, but I'll teach you two that are easy to remember, so pick whichever one you like.
一つはアソセレス。日本の警察とかがやってるやつね。
First is the isosceles stance. This is the one used by the Japanese police and the like.
足を肩幅よりやや大きめに開いて、左足は半歩前、体重は両足の親指に。
Spread your legs out until they're slightly past the width of your shoulders. Move your left foot a half step forward, and put your weight into both your big toes.
すぐ動けるように膝を軽く曲げて、体の正中線に銃を構えてみて。
Bend your knees slightly so you can move at a moment's notice, and hold the gun at level with the center of your body.
こうか。
Like this?
そうそう。それで膝を曲げるっていうより、小脇を締める感じで構えれば一致上がりよ。
Right. Then bend your elbows. Actually, on second thought, it'll be a little better if you hold it while squeezing your armpits together.
確かに安定するな。照準も定めやすくてブレにくい。
You're right, it's stable. It's also easy to aim and hard to miss.
この構えの利点は銃の方向を変えやすいところね。
The advantage of this stance is that it's easy to change the direction of the gun.
上半身をぐるっと回すだけで簡単に狙いが変えられるから。
Switching your sights is as easy as rotating the upper half of your body.
逆に欠点は体の真正面に銃を構えるから敵に体を晒しちゃうことね。
On the downside, holding the gun right in front of your body means you'll also be exposing yourself to the enemy.
もう一つはウィーバースタイル。
The other style I mentioned is the Weaver style.
アメリカの保安官とかの構え方だけど、左足を前に出して左半身を標的に見せるように構えるの。
It's the posture used by American peace officers and such. It's where you stretch your left leg forward and expose the left half of your body to your target.
敵に狙われる範囲は左半身だけになるってことだ。確かに的が小さくなる。
Meaning my enemy will only be able to aim for the left side of my body, right? That does make me a harder target.
そういうこと。その状態で右腕を伸ばして銃を目線の先に持ってくる。
Exactly. In that stance, you stretch out your right arm and hold your gun right in front of your eyes.
さらに 左手はぐっと肘を曲げて脇を締めて右手に添えると
Next, bend your left elbow completely, squeeze your armpit shut, and use your left hand to support your right. Yuna demonstrated the pose. It was the exact same shooting style you often see in movies and games.
やだ、ユーナさんがちょっとかっこいい。
Wow, you look so cool, Yuna.
この構えなら欠点はなさそうですね。
It doesn't look like that pose has any weaknesses.
確かに相手への露出は少なくなるけどその代わり銃の方向は変えづらいわよ。
Well, while it does make you less exposed to your opponent, it also makes it hard for you to change the direction of your gun.
左半身を常に前に出すことを想定してるから体ごと動かないといけないし
It works under the idea that your left half is always out front, so it doesn't work unless you hold completely still.
状況に応じて使いこなす必要がありそうだな。
Sounds like you'll need to get a good grip of which style works best for each situation.
そういうことというわけで実際に数発撃ってみましょうか。
Right you are. Anyway, there you have it, so why don't you try firing a few rounds?
へえなかなかやるじゃな
Damn, not bad.
すごい。いきなりど真ん中。
Amazing! You already got it right in the center. When Shuhei tried shooting using the pose he learned from Yuna, surprisingly enough, he hit the bullseye on his first time. There had been about 15 meters between him and his target. It carved a standard 3-ring target on a tree using a knife, yet Shuhei had shot right in the center.
意外といい形してるのね。そんな大きな銃反動が強くて慣れるのに時間がかかるものだけど
I'm surprised. You've got pretty good shoulders. Big guns like that have really strong recoil, so it usually takes people a while to get used to it.
問題は動く相手に当たるかどうかだな。
The problem is if I can hit a moving target.
そうねそれじゃあもう何回か撃ってみて
True. Okay then, try shooting a couple more times.
あ
Okay. Shuhei pulled the trigger again.
全弾命中それにほとんどブレもないわ
A bullseye each time, and barely any deviation.
君才能あるかもね
Might be a natural at this.
どうかな。仮にそうだとしても素直に喜ぶような才能じゃないが。
Well, even if that's true, it's not a talent to be proud of.
次は私が射撃練習してもいいですか？
Can I try shooting next?
ええ別に
Yeah, I don't mind.
いや、やっぱり琴美はやめておけ。
No, Kodomi shouldn't. Just as Yuna was about to give Kodomi the okay, Shuhei, denied her.
お前が銃を扱う必要はない。
You won't ever need to handle a gun.
シュウちゃん。
まさか女は男に守られるべきとかそんな古臭い理由じゃないでしょうね
This isn't because of chivalry or some other old-fashioned crap like that, is it?
そうじゃない。琴美には戦えない理由があるんだ。
No, there's a reason Kotomi can't fight. That reason was, of course, Kotomi's clear condition. Hurting certain players would result in instant game over for her.
だけどシュウちゃん、もしもシュウちゃんが危ない目に遭っているなら、私だって戦いたいよ。
But Shu, I want to fight if you ever find yourself in another tight spot.
戦えなくてもいい。だけど、相手を威嚇して追い払うくらいなら、私にもできると思うの。
No, I don't have to fight. But I think I can at least scare off someone if I have to.
やめておけ。銃を撃つ以上、万が一はあるかもしれない。
Forget it. If you fire a gun, the worst might come to pass.
それでも私弱いままの自分は嫌だよ。
Even if that's true, I hate being so weak.
昨日しゅうちゃんがひどい怪我をして帰ってきた時すごく怖かった。
When you came back all beat up yesterday, I was really scared.
こんなひどい目にあったらしゅうちゃんが死んじゃう、殺されちゃうって。
I worried that you could have died or been killed in a dangerous situation like that.
そんな時私には何もできないなんて嫌だよ。
And if I couldn't do anything for you in times like that, I'd hate it.
大丈夫。もう無茶な真似はしない。だから俺のことは心配するな。
It's okay. I won't pull any reckless stunts like that ever again, so don't worry about me.
でも
But
琴美に銃なんて撃たせない。
I won't let you shoot a gun.
お前が誰かを傷つける姿なんて俺は見たくないんだ。
I don't want to see you hurting someone.
琴美は俺が守る。絶対に。
I'll keep you safe. I swear it.
しゅうちゃん。
Yuna, who'd seen the whole exchange, crossed her fingers.
やばいよユーナさん、周平くんがかっこよすぎてやばいよ。
That was amazing, Yuna. Shuhei was so cool.
あんたはさっきからうるさいわね。少しは空気読みなさいよ。
You've been making a racket for a while now, you know that? Learn to read between the lines a little.
なんなのこの切なくて抑えきれない気持ち。これはきっとそう。
What's with the swell of bittersweet emotions racing through me? It must be... Love!
諦めなさい。あんたに目はないわ。
Give it up. You don't have a chance.
そうよ。この二人はゲーム開始当初からずっと離れずにいるし。
She's right. Two of them have been inseparable since the start of the game.
悔しいの。ことみちゃんがいなければ間違いなくアタックするのに。
That's such a shame. If Kotomi weren't here, I'd be making a pass, no questions asked.
私にも誰か素敵な王子様がいればな。
I want a knight in shining armor to whisk me away, too.
はいはい。次はあんたが射撃練習すればいいよ。
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, it's your turn for firearms training.
現実って厳しいもんですね。
Reality is so harsh.
ま、ユイは私が守ってあげるわよ。不服かもしれないけどね。
Don't worry. I'll keep you safe, though you might not like it.
そんなことないですよ。
Huh? That's not true at all.
よし、決めた。ユイは今日からスマキにして転がしておく。
Okay, I've got it. From here on out, I'll wrap you up in a mat and roll you around.
ちょっと待って。ユーナさんごめん。許して。
Please wait. I'm sorry, Yuna. Have mercy.
給仕係を決めないとね。ああ、それともしつけのために餌は与えない方がいいのかしら。
We also need to decide who feeds you. Oh, maybe not feeding you would work better for discipline on you?
ああもうユーナさんごめんなさい。ユーナさん大好き。愛してます。
Oh, come on. I'm sorry, Yuna. I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Yui clung to Yuna as she marched back to the hut. Shuhei, Kotomi, and Mariko all looked at each other and smiled as they watched those two. And so, After Yui and Mariko had completed their firearms training,
そういえば周平や琴美のクリア条件ってどれくらい進んでるの？
by the way, how close are you to the completing your clear conditions, Shuhei and Kotomi?
そうだな。
Shuhei hesitated to answer the question he'd been given as soon as they returned to the hut. The main question was whether or not he should hint at his clear condition to Yuna. Yuna and her group didn't seem like enemies, but didn't mean he could fully trust them.
琴美は時間の問題だが、俺のは少し厄介だ。
Kotomi's is a matter of time, but mine's a little tricky.
複数のプレイヤーが関わってくるクリア条件だが、なかなか目的のプレイヤーを見つけられないでいる。
It's related to the clear conditions of prime number players, but I haven't managed to find many of them so far. Shuhei decided to answer Yuna's question honestly. Part of it was out of gratitude for all the support she'd given them. More than anything, he had to tip his hand in order to get the information he wanted.
それで、もしよければ君らのナンバーを教えてもらえないか。マリコさんも含めて。
So it's okay with you guys. Can you tell me your player numbers? You too, Mariko.
うん、いいわよ。
Sure, that's fine with me.
私も別にいいけど、ユイのは教えられないわ。
I'm okay with it, but Yui can't tell her hers.
何か事情でも。
Why, are there some special circumstances?
いや、私の PDA は壊れちゃってて。ほら。
No, my PDA's just broken, that's all. Take a look. Mina showed her PDA. Though the power light was on, the screen wasn't showing anything.
ゲーム開始早々に落としちゃって壊しちゃったらしいのよ。
It seems she broke it when she dropped it early on in the game.
だからプレイヤーナンバーも特殊機能もクリア条件も全部わからないままで困ってたの。
So she's been fretting over what to do this whole time, since she doesn't know anything about her player number, special function, or even her clear condition.
それは問題だな。
That's definitely not good. If she had a clear condition that didn't require her to do much, she'd be fine. But if it was one that required she'd be active, it was a life-threatening problem.
電源は入るから PDA 自体は生きてると思うのよね。
Since the power's working, I think the PDA itself is okay.
液晶も割れてるわけじゃないし、工具さえあればどうにかなるかもしれないんだけど。
And the screen's not cracked, so if we had some tools, we might be able to fix it.
工具か。確か大輔が持っていたはずだけど、今となってはどうしようもないな。
Tools, huh? I remember Daisuke has a screwdriver. There's nothing we can do about it now, can we?
せめてクリア条件だけでも分かればね。
At the very least, we need to know her clear condition.
それなら。
Oh, in that case... Kotomi spoke up like she got an idea and gave Shuhei a questioning glance. Shuhei quickly caught on to what she was thinking.
しゅうちゃん、ダメかな。
Is it okay, Shu?
そうだな。
I suppose.
いいんじゃないか。ユーナたちに知られても困ることはない。
I don't see why not. There's no harm in letting them know. Okay.
二人ともさっきから何の話？
What are you guys talking about?
私の特殊機能なら、ゆいちゃんのプレイヤーナンバーとクリア条件がわかるんです。
They can find out Yui's player number and clear condition of my special function.
本当に？
Huh? Really? That was a piece of information they normally be careful not to slip to other players. In theory, Shuhei and Kotomi could have just found out Yui and Yuna's information without telling them about it. But there was a reasonably high possibility those two were prime number players. If Yui was one of them, then it'd be a big problem if she didn't know her own condition.
それじゃ
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Komi put her PDA on the table and fiddled around in the way so the others could see what was happening. And then,
プレイヤーナンバーは5。クリア条件はメモリーチップを使用して食料を8つ以上確保する。だね。
your player number is 5. Your clear condition is use memory chips and secure 8 or more food supplies.
これ本当に私の条件なの？本当に？
This is my condition? For real?
ここにゆいちゃんの名前が入ってるでしょ。ほら。
Yep, your name's right here. See?
本当だ。
You're right.
これでやっと私も。
Now I can finally...
ゆいちゃん。
苦節3日。やっと私も一人前のプレイヤーになれました。
After 3 long days, I've finally been able to become a full-fledged player.
ありがとう、ことみちゃん。
Thank you, Kotomi.
ことみちゃんがいなかったら私死んじゃってたかも。ことみちゃんは私の命の恩人だよ。
I might have died if it weren't for you. You're my savior.
ことみちゃん好き、もう大好き。チュッチュッ。
I love you, Kotomi. I love you so much I could kiss you.
これで一安心ね。一時はほんとどうしようかと思ったわ。
Well, that's a relief. I really didn't know what we were gonna do for a while.
ありがとうね、ことみ。
Thank you, Kotomi.
役に立ててよかった。
It's okay. I'm just glad to be useful. Yuna gave the shy Kotomi a hearty pat on the back. Mariko walked over to Shuhei, who was watching the whole thing.
藤田君、あんな特殊機能があるんだったらどうして最初から使わなかったの？
Fujita, if you had that special function all along, why didn't you use it from the start? Mariko kept her voice to a whisper so only Shuhei could hear.
藤田君は私たちにプレイヤーナンバーを聞いたけど、本当は私の口から聞く必要なんてなかったはずよ。
You asked us about our player numbers, but in reality, you didn't need to ask at all, right?
ああ、そうだな。
Yeah, you're right.
別におかしなことじゃないさ。俺は自分の目的のためにそれがベストだと判断しただけだ。
There's no real mystery to it. I was determined it was the best way to achieve my ends.
それと
And besides,
仮にユーナにどんな画策があったとしても命を助けてもらったことに変わりはない。
even if Yuna has some sort of scheme in mind, she still saved my life. That's a fact.
義理は立てておかないとな。
I felt I owed it to her.
ちょっと意外ね。
Huh. Didn't expect that.
藤田君ってそういう余分を持たない印象だったけど、
I was always under the impression you weren't such a generous person.
心外だな。俺も人の子だよ。
Now that's harsh. I'm human too.
いや、昔の俺はマリコさんの想像通りの人間だったのかもしれないな。
No. In the past, I may have been exactly the kind of person you imagined.
そんな藤田君に情を植え付けたのが琴美さんなの？
Was it Kotomi who planted that compassion in you?
なぜそう思う？
What makes you think that?
二人を見てればなんとなくわかるわよ。自覚なかった？
I can kind of tell just by looking at you two. Were you not aware of it?
そうか。
I see.
ま、余分ばっかりで構成されている幼馴染がいると多少なりとも構成されるってことさ。
Well, being with an old friend who's practically made out of generosity has probably changed me quite a bit.
そう。だったら大切にしなさい。それはきっと得たいと思って得られる関係じゃないわよ。
I see. Then hold her dear. That's definitely not the kind of bond you can find with anyone.
ああ、そうだな。本当に。
Yeah, you got that right. Mariko smiled slightly at Shuhei's response.
それじゃあもう一つ。これは私の個人的な考えだけど、
And I'll say one more thing. It's just my personal opinion, but
琴美さん以外の人ももう少し信じてあげて。
you should try trusting people other than Kotomi a little more. Huh?
少なくともユーナさんは信頼できる人だと思う。リスクを冒して私を助けてくれたし、無条件に私を信じてくれたし。
I think Yuna is trustworthy at the very least. She risked her life to save mine, and she trusted me, no questions asked.
いや、私が勝手にそう思ってるだけかもしれないけど、何にしてももう少し警戒を緩めるべきじゃないかな。
No. Maybe that's just what I want to believe. But in any case, don't you think you should let your guard down a little more?
そうかな。そうかな。
Maybe you're right. Shuhei's lips curved into a smile, and he turned back to Kotomi, Yui, and Yuna. Kotomi and Yuna was watching over Kotomi and Yui with the gentle face of a mother watching over her children. Once Shuhei saw that, he made his mind and spoke up.
おいユナ
Hey, Yuna. Yeah? Yuna walked over to Shuhei, looking at him with confusion.
何？どうしたの？
What is it? Something up?
俺と琴美のナンバーとクリア条件を教えておく。
I'll tell you me and Kotomi's player numbers and clear conditions.
いいの？
Huh? Are you sure about this?
お前が何者なのかについて正直思うところはある。
To be honest, I have an idea or two about what you really are.
ただそれがどんな事情だったにせよ、これまでのユーナの行いが悪意から来るものだとは思えない。
But regardless of your reasons, none of your actions so far appear to be rooted in malice.
だからこれはユーナへの信頼の証だ。
So this is the proof of my trust in you. Shuhei took out his PDA and showed it to Yuna.
誓うわ。その信頼は絶対に裏切らない。
I'll never betray that trust. I swear it. And with that, Yuna took out her own PDA and showed it to Shuhei. She looked at him head on with a serious look in her eyes, no gloom to be found anywhere. They took each other's PDAs, reading the information within. Yuna Todo. Player number Jack. Clear condition. Survive until the last day. Once she finished reading his information, Yuna handed Shuhei back his PDA.
なるほどね。確かに難易度の高いクリア条件だわ。
Now I see. You weren't wrong, that is a quite tricky condition.
でもユーナさんもユイさんも素数のナンバー。藤田君にとっては大きな収穫になったわね。
But Yuna and Yui are prime numbered players. This must be a big find for you.
ああ、そのようだ。
Yeah, looks like it.
まだ先は長いわ。クリアを目指して頑張りましょう。
We've all still got a ways to go. Let's work hard to make it through this game.
お互い生き残らなければいけない理由があるみたいだから。
After all, it seems neither of us can afford to die.
あ
Yeah. Shuhei shook Yuna's hand as he bowed his head. Mariko gave a relieved smile at that sight. Afterwards, it began raining for the first time since the game had started. Unlike the day before, the temperature dropped suddenly, meaning without shelter from the rain, they'd probably freeze. Not just physically, but in another way too. The mountain hut was a very warm place. But the group couldn't clear the conditions if they stayed there forever.
俺はここを出て行こうと思ってる。
I think we should leave. That's why Shuhei made that suggestion to Kotomi.
どうして？
Huh? Why?
みんなと一緒に行動した方が安全だと思うよ。
Wouldn't it be safer if we stay with the others?
ユーナとユイさんのナンバーはジャックと5。どちらも俺のクリア条件に合致する素数のプレイヤーだ。
Yuno and Yui are the Jack and 5. They're necessary for me to fulfill my clear condition.
そして2人とも能動的にクリアを目指すタイプの条件じゃない。つまりここを離れる必要がないんだ。
And they don't need to actively work to fulfill their conditions. So they don't need to leave.
そうだね。それはマリコさんも同じだし。
You're right. And it's the same for Mariko.
けど俺は残った素数ナンバーのプレイヤーを探さなきゃいけない。
But I need to find the other prime numbered players.
協力を求めればユーナは力を貸してくれるだろうが、俺一人のためにみんなを危険な目に遭わせるわけにはいかない。
Yuno would probably help me if I asked, but I don't want to drag everyone else into danger just for me.
そっか。
I see. Kotomi gave an understanding nod. Shin stood up as though she'd come to a decision and started gathering their belongings in the corner of the room.
野宿は覚悟して毛布は持っていった方がいいよね。あとメモリーチップも少なくなってきてるから食料は。
We should bring blankets in case we have to sleep outdoors. And since memory chips are running low, supplies will...
いや、コトミ、お前はここに残れ。
No, Kotomi. Stay here. Huh? Kotomi's face warped with confusion.
コトミはユーナたちとここに残った方がいい。
You should stay here with the others.
どうして？
Why?
私が足手まといだから。
Because I'll just get in the way?
まさか。違うよ。
Of course,
そんな理由じゃない。
of course not. That's not it. You're wrong.
コトミはもう俺と一緒に動き回る必要はないんだ。
It's just that you don't need to travel with me anymore.
何もしなくてもクリア条件を満たせるから。ユーナさんたちみたいに。
Because I can fulfill my clear condition without doing anything? Just like the others here?
あ、だったら一箇所に留まって多くの仲間といた方が安全だ。
Yeah. In that case, it's safer to stay in one place with many allies.
ユーナがいる限りこの山小屋の守りは固い。
This hut's defense is rock solid as long as Yuna's here.
好戦的なプレイヤーも迂闊には手が出せないはずだ。
9 belligerent players should be reckless enough to attack.
俺はコトミを守りたい。
I want to keep you safe.
そのためにはコトミを危険から遠ざけるのが一番だ。わかるだろう。
The best way to ensure that is to keep you far from danger. You understand, right?
わかる。
Yes, I do.
でも絶対に嫌だから。
But I'm against it. What? Now it was Shuhei who was rather dumbstruck. Unable to find anything to say, all he could do was watch Kotomi's back as she resumed gathering their things.
私が足手まといだから置いていくって言うなら、私はしゅうちゃんの言うことに従うよ。
If you said you were leaving me because I would get in the way, I'd do as you said.
でもしゅうちゃんは違うって言った。だからついてく。
But you said that wasn't it, so I'm going with you.
だけどそんな子供みたいな言い訳。
But a child's excuse like that won't...
私もう子供じゃないよ。
I'm not a child anymore.
ここにいた方が安全なことも、外に出たら危険なことも。
This place is safe, and it's dangerous outside.
私の言ってることがただのわがままで、しゅうちゃんを困らせてることも。
I'm just being selfish, and I'm giving you trouble.
全部分かってるよ。
I understand all of that,
だけどこれは自分で決めたことなの。
but this is my decision.
たとえしゅうちゃんの頼みでもこれだけは譲れないよ。
This is one thing I won't back down on, even if you ask me. Shuhei's shoulders fell crestfallen, and he heaved a great sigh. I know. Believe me, I do. Kotomi had been a stubborn one who never went back on what she said, right or wrong, ever since they were kids.
よし 準備は終わり。
Alright, we're all set.
それでしゅうちゃん、いつ出発するの？外は雨が降ってるから、それが止むのを待って。
So, Shu, when should we go? It's raining right now, so maybe we should wait for it to stop and... Right as Kotomi turned around after getting their things ready, Shuhei took her in his arms without any warning. He buried his face into Kotomi's smooth hair, slowly stroking it to take in that sensation.
どうしたの、しゅうちゃん。
What's gotten into you, Shu?
どうして俺はこんなおてんば娘に惚れちまったのかと思ってさ。
I'd have to go and fall for such a tomboy.
後悔してる？
Do you regret it?
だったらこんなことしないよ。
I wouldn't be doing this if I did.
そっか。
Yeah, that's true. Kotomi wrapped her arms tightly around Shuhei's back.
ねえ、しゅうちゃん。
Hey, Shu.
昨日ね、初めてキスしてくれた時からずっと胸がドキドキして止まらないの。
My heart's been pounding like crazy since you kissed me for the first time yesterday.
しゅうちゃんに触れたくて、甘えたくて、キュッてしたくて、感情が抑えられなくなりそうだった。
I want you to feel me, love me, and hold me so badly that I don't think I can hold my feelings back any longer.
だけど今はこんな状況だからって自分に言い聞かせて必死で我慢してたんだよ。
I've been fighting it, telling myself that now isn't the time for all that.
でもね、ダメなの。
But you know what? I can't do it.
こうやって二人きりになるとしゅうちゃんがまたキスしてくれるんじゃないかって心のどこかで期待しちゃってる。
When we're all alone like this, a part of me is expecting you to kiss me again.
バカみたいでしょ。
It's so stupid, isn't it?
奇遇だな。実は俺もなんだ。
What a coincidence. It's the same for me, actually.
そう。キスだけじゃ止められそうにない。
I don't think I'll be able to just stop with a kiss. Kotomi flushed at those words, and she buried her face in Shuhei's chest to hide her embarrassment. You perv.
男の子だからな。
Hey, I'm a guy.
そっか。それじゃあ仕方ないよね。
I see. And I guess there's nothing you can do about it, huh? Shuhei propped his hand on Kotomi's chin. When he slowly lifted it up, he was greeted by eyes damp with tears. He could feel Kotomi's slender body trembling little by little.
しゅうちゃん。
They brought their lips closer and closer, and then...
ユーナさん、次私の番だよ。
Yuna, it's my turn next.
待って、今いいとこ。
Wait, just getting to the good part.
ちょっと二人とも覗きはやめなさいって。
Come on, guys, stop peeking.
藤田君といい、どうしてそう出ばがみしたがるの？
I thought Fujita was bad enough. Why do you guys want to peep so badly?
覗かれたから覗き返してるだけよ。
Because when you stare, you get stared right back.
見えない。もうちょっと伏せて。
I can't see anything. Move a little to the side.
これ以上は無理。ちょっと押さないでよ。
I can't go any farther. Hey, don't push me. Shuhei walked up to the door and opened it without a word. The two who'd been propped against the door came tumbling down. Shuhei glared down at the two girls at his feet and sighed heavily.
何やってんだお前ら。
What are you guys even doing?
これは
Well, you see...
ユーナさんが見張りの交代の時間だから二人を呼びに行ってそれって
It was Yuna's turn for the watch, so, she called us over. That's why.
そうただ見張りの交代のために
Yeah, we were just swapping out for the watch. Just then, Mariko appeared behind the two.
ユイさん、嘘はダメよ。ユーナさんもごまかさないで。
No lying, Yui. And don't think you can fool anyone, Yuna.
知らないわね悪いのは全てユイよ
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all Yui's fault.
ひどいユーナさん裏切るんですか
What? You're so cruel, Yuna! How could you betray me? If the rain stopped, Yuna's shouts echoed across the early autumn sky, blurred with light streaming in through the gaps in the clouds. The sight of Yui desperately making excuses was so comical that Shuhei finally burst into laughter, unable to hold back any longer. Before long, Yuna and Komi joined in too. The scene was like a page in the life of good friends fooling around at school. For that brief period, they were able to forget their troubles and feel as though they were gaining a slice of the peaceful life that had been taken away from. Little did they know that this moment would be the last time they all laughed together. "522 wins, 523 losses. That was Rei Makioka's win-loss record against her younger twin brother, Akira Makioka. Rei's family have been running a swordsmanship dojo for hundreds of years, stretching all the way back to the middle of the Edo era. The Makioka style. It wasn't a particularly famous school of swordplay to a layman. But to veterans of the swordsmanship world, it was known and feared as systemized techniques that placed importance on actual combat. It was said back in the closing days of the Edo era, where the power of the sword was directly linked to living, the dojo was flourishing with disciples. Designed with even techniques to subjugate opponents with weapons, such as pistols, it was flooded with die-hard patriots. But once the dawn of the Meiji era came and swords were banned, many small dojos were left behind with the times. Even in modern times, Rei's father, who continued to run the dojo, only had 5 students, including his own son and daughter. Regardless, he never considered closing the dojo. He was an old-fashioned man who lived to pass on the techniques his ancestors had developed, as well as the warrior spirits that Japan had fostered since time immemorial. was under that man that those 5 students trained every day, determined to polish their skills. In a dojo with so few students, it was notable that those similar in age and physique would become sparring partners. As such, Rei and Akira became truly ideal opponents for each other. Their high-level skills were practically on par. With each hit came a counterattack, and with each victory came a loss not long after. That cycle served to strengthen their skills well. In hindsight, rather than sparring, perhaps it would be more apt to describe it as sibling communication. Taught by their swordsmaster father, and fights between swordmaster twins. Every exchange of swords was like a game or conversation to them. They'd eat, sleep, go to school, spar in the dojo, and laugh together. It was a repetitive life, but one they were content with and never complained about. Whether Akira left home or Rei married into another family, the two of them never once doubted they'd always be together until one of those times came. But all of a sudden, that perceived eternity came crashing down. One day, Akira suddenly disappeared. Even though he trained every single day of his life since he first took up the sword. Even though Rei had been fully ready to make up for all the losses she suffered at his hand the week before. He'd literally vanished without a trace. Rei and her father had searched for him, following a missing persons report and talking to all sorts of people. However, unable to grasp even a sniff of his trail, time just vainly passed by. And then Akira died. Rei cried, but there was nothing compared to her father's immense grief. He stopped showing up to the dojo, and in just a few short months, looked as though he'd aged several years. Unable to bear the sight of her father, Rei went around to every involved official she knew. She went all around, doing everything in her power to find even a trace of Akira's presence. Of course, normally, her investigation would have likely ended fruitlessly. She would waste away and end up a hollow shell, just like her father, and in time, may even forget about Akira. But that wasn't what had happened. And now Rei was here to get revenge for her brother. Rei caught her breath and regarded the smoothly curved tip of her blade. She had to get her revenge with the blade technique she drilled into her body since she was a child. She sheathed her blade and turned her gaze to the depths of the forest. You must be prepared to cut down someone at any time. That was one of the teachings of her father, back when he still had life in him. It was likely she'd have to do exactly that at some point during this game. But Rei had no intention of hesitating when the time came, not for a second.
それで、まだ僕のことは信用してもらえないのかな?
Well, can you still not find it in yourself to trust me? When Rei got back to the cabin, she found Tsukasa and Hatsune going through an exchange she already witnessed several times by this point. Though rather than an exchange, it was more like a one-sided dialogue on Tsukasa's end.
ああ、レイか。おかえり。
Oh, it's Rei. Welcome back.
ちょうどいいところに来た。ちょっと助けてくれないかな。
Perfect timing. I was wondering if you could assist me.
何を助ければいいのですか？
With what?
いや、見たらわかるでしょ。初音を説得してもらいたいんだよ。
Well, you can tell for yourself, right? I want to get through the Hatsune.
僕はカウンセラーじゃないし、正直こういうのってめんどくさいんだよね。
I'm no counselor, and honestly, I consider this sort of thing to be quite a pain.
でも一応仲間だからさ。彼女にもいろいろ頼みたいことがあるし。
But we are teammates for the time being, and there are all sorts of things I want to ask of her too.
あなたのそういう発言が信頼を得られない原因だと思います。
You'll never earn her trust talking like that.
まったく、司はデリカシーがなさすぎです。
Good grief, you haven't the slightest smidge of tact.
まあそれは認めるけどさ。だったらレイが変わってくれないかな。
Well, I can't deny that. That's why I want you to try instead.
それと誤解されたら面倒だから言っておくけどね。僕は信頼していない人間の前では本音は言わないんだ。
And just so we don't have some annoying misunderstanding later on, I'll have you know I never speak my true thoughts in front of people I don't trust.
つまり司は信頼する人間を絶望させるのが好きということですね。
So what you're saying is you take delight in making those you do not trust despair?
例の発言に悪意がないことを僕は祈ってるよ。
I pray there isn't any malice behind your words.
失礼ですね。私の発言には誠意しかありません。
Such impudence. I speak only with sincerity.
だから、
So... Rei wrapped her hands around Hatsune's own. They were small and cold. But Rei warmed them up as she looked Hatsune straight in the eye and spoke.
私が初音を守ると一度口にしたならば、何があっても初音を守り通します。
I say I would protect you, Hatsune. I swear to uphold that vow no matter what happens.
本当に？
Really?
君を懐柔するためにそんな嘘がつけるほどレイが器用な人間に見える？
Does Rei seem crafty enough to butter people up with lies?
見えないです。
No, she doesn't.
だってさ、レイは信頼を得たみたいだよ。
See? Looks like you've gained her trust, Rei.
これが司との人徳の差です。
This is due to the difference in our personal virtues.
そうかな。大して変わるとは思えないけど。
You think so? They don't seem all that different to me.
じゃあ、服装の差です。
And there was a difference in our attire.
司もセーラー服を着てみたらどうです？
Maybe you should try wearing a blouse and skirt too.
いや、意味がわからないから。
I fail to understand what you're getting at.
着てみればわかります。きっと新たな境地が見えますよ。
You'll understand once you put it on. It'll open your mind to a whole new world.
見たくないよ、そんなもの。
I have no wish to see such a thing.
そうでしょうか。意外と需要はあると思うのですが。
Really? I think quite a few would demand to see that.
何の需要だよ。というか、その需要を僕が満たさなきゃいけない理由って何？
Who are you talking about? And why would I oblige to fulfill their demands to begin with?
それはそこに需要があるからです。
Because the demand exists.
はあ、話にならないね。
This is giving me a headache. Tsukasa sighed with exasperation. And just then... Hatsune let out a laugh. Faint, but a laugh nonetheless. Rei had no idea what Hatsune found funny about the serious conversation she'd been having with Tsukasa. Well, it's not a bad thing, is it? Ray looked around and she was thinking that, only to find Scassa looking at her with a smile that seemed to say, "Good job," for some reason.
それじゃ初音が元気になったところで改めて説明を始めようかな。
Alright, now that Hatsune is feeling better, I'd like to begin my explanation.
僕の考えではこのゲームはチームを組んで行動する方が有利な設計になっている。
It is my belief that this game is designed to benefit players who form teams.
集団はそもそも戦闘に強いし、役割分担すれば同時に複数の目的がこなせる。 PDA の特殊機能を共有できるのも大きい。
To begin with, teams have an advantage in combat and can carry out a multitude of tasks simultaneously by splitting up roles. Being able to share their special functions is also a huge plus.
特に大事なのが特殊機能だね。
That last point is particularly important.
最終的にはプレイヤーのほとんどが銃器を持つことになり、個々の戦力は均衡してくるだろう。
Eventually, the majority of players will have acquired weapons, creating a balance in overall combat potential.
そんな中で唯一差がつくのが特殊機能なんだ。
The only thing that will set us apart there are special functions.
なるほど、納得です。
I see. I follow you.
というわけで一度全員の特殊機能を確認していこう。
So with that said, we shall confirm our special functions.
最初はそうだな、初音から頼むよ。
First, I know. Hatsune, let's start with you.
はいなのです。
Okay.
初音の特殊機能は半径20メートル以内に他の PDA が接近すると警告をするなのです。
My special function is at least a warning when another PDA comes within 20 meters.
敵対者の接近から身を守るには優秀な機能だね。
That's a good one. It'll keep you safe when the hostiles approaching.
狙撃されたとしても20メートルあればまず当たらないよ。よほど訓練してたりショットガンでもあれば話は別だろうけど。
Even if they shoot at you, 20 meters is too far away to hit. Well, unless they have extensive training or a shotgun, then that's another story.
じゃあ次は例の特殊機能いいかな。
Let's move on to Ray's next. Is that alright?
私のは半径50メートル以内にあるジョーカーの PDA を初期化するです。
Mine is revert the Joker PDA to its initial settings when it's within 50 meters.
対ジョーカー特化の PDA だね。
So it's an anti-Joker PDA, huh?
無効化ではなく初期化って書いてあるあたり、ジョーカーは何かを付加していくタイプの PDA なのかな。
It says return to initial settings, not neutralize, which means the Joker might be an add-on type PDA.
あえて対抗手段を設けているってことはよほど強力な機能を積んでいるんだろうけど、例の PDA はその切り札になる。
And the fact that it has a specific countermeasure means that its function must be quite powerful, which makes your PDA a trump card in that sense.
切り札いい響きです。
Trump card. Has a nice ring to it.
司のはどうなのです？
What about you, Scassa? What's yours?
ああ、僕のはちょっと特殊なんだ。
Oh, mine? It's just a little special one, that's all.
特殊機能ですから当然ですよね。
Special? Isn't that obvious? I mean, it is a special function.
ああ、うん、そうだね。
Yes, I suppose you're right.
僕の特殊機能は半径6メートル以内にある PDA の特殊機能を使用できる。
My special function is use the special function of any PDA within 6 meters.
つまり他の PDA の特殊機能を距離限定でコピーできる機能だ。
In other words, I can copy the special functions of other PDAs in close range.
一見すごそうに見えて実は微妙な気がします。
It sounds great at first, but in actuality it seems rather untrustworthy.
うん。他の PDA がそばになければ使えないし、コピー対象の PDA が使えない機能でも意味ない。
Right. I can't use them unless the other PDA is nearby, and it's pointless if I can't use that function.
初音にしろ私にしろコピーして得することが何もありません。
The best you could do is copying me or Hatsune's.
その通り。だけどこの能力の進化はそこじゃないんだよ。
Exactly. But that's not the true worth of this function.
進化
true worth?
そう
Yes. Tsukasa smirked.
伊藤大輔の特殊機能
Daisuke Ito's special function.
半径1メートル以内にいるプレイヤーが死亡した時この PDA のプレイヤーを除く半径5メートル以内のプレイヤーの首輪を爆発させる
When the player dies within 1 meter of this PDA, all player callers, with the exception of this PDA's player, within 5 meters will detonate. Huh?
上野真理子
Mariko Ueno.
半径2メートル以内にいるプレイヤーの首輪を指定して爆発させる
Detonate a designated collar of a player within 2 meters.
粕谷瞳
Hitomi Kasuya.
半径100メートル以内にある PDA にメールを送信する一度メールを送った PDA には範囲外からでも送信ができる
Send an email to a PDA within 100 meters. After sending one email to a PDA, you can email that PDA again even when outside the designated range.
吹石琴美
Kotomi Fukishi.
半径10メートル以内にいるプレイヤーのナンバークリア条件を表示する
Display the player number and clear conditions of a player within 10 meters.
藤田修平
Shuhei Fujita.
半径10メートル以内にある PDA の特殊機能を無効化する
Nullify the special functions of all PDAs within 10 meters.
それはもしかして
Are those?
そう僕がこれまで遭遇した参加者全員の特殊機能だよ
Yes, those are the special functions of all the players I've come across so far.
コピーできるってことは相手の特殊機能を知ることができるってことさおまけとしてそのプレイヤーの名前もね
Copying allows me to learn those functions. And also their players' names to boot.
なるほど
I see.
つまり私と初音の特殊機能など聞くまでもなくすでに知っていたということですね
So in other words, you already knew me and Hatsune's special functions without even needing to ask.
覗き見機能司にお似合いです
A peeping function. It suits you well.
褒め言葉と受け取っておくけどもう少し言葉は選んだ方がいいと思うよ
I'll take that as a compliment, but I do wish you would choose your words more carefully.
違うのです。
They're different.
周平と琴美の特殊機能が聞いていたのと全然違うのです。
Shuhei and Kotomi's special functions. Those aren't the ones they told us.
初音
Hatsune's face suddenly went pale, her downcast eyes welling with tears. Perhaps the discovery that she'd been betrayed by her trusted companions was reminding her of the trauma she'd gone through.
聞きたくないのです。
I don't want to believe it.
あの二人が常に嘘をついてたなんて信じたくないのです。
I don't want to believe that those two were lying to me.
まあ藤田先輩ならそれは当然だろうね
Well, I can understand why Fujita would do it. In contrast to Hatsune's serious attitude, Tsukasa talked as though he were discussing something obvious.
周平
もともとクリア条件も特殊機能もお互いに隠し合ってたチームなんでしょ
Your team functioned while hiding your clear conditions and special functions from each other, right?
はい
Yes.
だったら藤田先輩の判断は正しいんじゃないかな同じ状況だったら僕もそうするよ
And I think Fujita made the right choice. I would have done the same thing in his shoes.
だって真実を公表したって何のメリットもないでしょ
Because there wouldn't have been any benefit in telling the truth, would there?
そうなんですか。
Is that right?
司は常にゲームクリアを優先していますからねそのような判断も時として必要なのでしょう
Tsukasa's top priority has always been winning the game, so he feels decisions like that are necessary on occasion.
もっとも口先だけで他者をたばかる人間と 私は信頼関係を築けそうにありませんが。
Though personally, I would not put my trust in someone who hoodwinks others with lip service.
なんで僕を見ながら言うのさ。
Why are you looking at me when you say that?
別に司には何も言っていませんよ。自意識過剰なんじゃないですか。
I didn't say anything to you. Aren't you just being too self-conscious?
まあそれは今は置いておきましょう。
Well, let's put that aside for now.
なので初音もあまり気にしないことです。
At any rate, I don't believe you need to worry so much, Hatsune.
このゲームは参加者の命がかかっているのですから、誰もが全力を尽くしてくることでしょう。
All the players' lives are at stake in this game, so everyone's doing whatever they can to survive.
たとえそれが初音の気持ちを裏切る形になってしまっても、その相手を責めることはできません。
So even if that resulted in them betraying your feelings, you can't blame them. Okay. Though the sadness had faded from Hatsune's face, she nodded. Hadn't faded from Hatsune's face, she nodded.
ですが、それは正々堂々の勝負であった場合に限ります。
However, it only applies in a fair and square match.
不用意に、もしくは欲望のためだけに初音を傷つける者がいたならば、
If someone hurts you for any careless or selfish reasons,
そのようなゲロをこの私が刀の錆にしてあげましょう。
I reduce them to rust on my blade.
本当に
Really?
私が嘘をつけるほど器用な人間に見えますか？
Do I look crafty enough to lie to you?
ないのです。
No, you don't.
だったら私を信じてください。
Then please trust me.
不本意ながら司もそれなりに信頼の受けそうな男です。
He may be unscrupulous, but I do believe Tsukasa is a man we can put a certain degree of trust in as well.
君の口からそんな言葉が聞けるなんて嬉しいね。涙が出そうだ。
I've never been happier to hear such words from someone before. I could just weep in joy.
やはり前言撤回します。司はただの嘘つき野郎です。
I take that back. Tsukasa is just a heartless liar.
というわけで初音、あなたは私だけを信じるのです。いいですね。
And there you have it, Hatsune. Trust me, if no one else. Okay? Ray looked Hatsune right in the eye. When she did, Hatsune nodded without another word.
ここを出ていく？
You guys are leaving?
あ
Yeah. Once the rain had stopped, Shuhei Fujita told Yuna and the others of his decision.
どうして二人で行動するメリットはないんじゃ。
Why? You guys don't have anything to gain from going at it alone.
そうだよ。そんなこと言わずに、みんなで一緒に最終日まで頑張ろうよ。
She's right. So don't say that. Work with us until the last day.
本当はそうしたいんだけど。
Well, we'd like to. It's just...
周平のクリア条件のことなら私が手伝ってもいいけど。
It's about Shuhei's clear condition. I can help with that, you know? Yuna looked seriously at Shuhei. But regardless, Shuhei still shook his head.
いや、ユーナたちにはこのまま自分のクリア条件を満たしてほしいんだ。
No. Why don't you guys just keep at and fulfill your own clear conditions?
特にユーナとユイさんは素数ナンバーのプレイヤーだからな。その方が俺も助かる。
Especially you, Yuna and Yui. You guys are prime number players, so that's a big help. That'd be a big help for me.
じゃあ素数ナンバーじゃない私が。
And what about me? I'm not a prime number player, so...
マリコさんもだ。3人は一緒にいて互いに身を守り合っていた方がいい。
You should stay with them. It'll be safer for all three of you to stick together.
でも
But... Mariko only looked more displeased with that answer and tried to speak up, but stopped when Yuna gave her a tap on the shoulder.
ユーナさん。
マリコ、行かせてあげましょう。
Mariko, let them go.
どうしてですか、ユーナさん。こういう時、力ずくでも止めようとするのがユーナさんのはずじゃないですか。
But why, Yuna? Didn't you say you'd stop people in times like this, even by force?
本当はね、無理なんじゃないかと思ってたの。
Truth be told, I didn't think that was going to be possible.
このゲームから全員で生きて帰ること。誰も争わずに最終日を迎えること。
Everyone surviving this game, reaching the final day without any conflict, and see that happening.
人間ってどうしようもなく利己的で欲深くて脆弱な生き物だから。
Because humans are hopelessly selfish, greedy, and fragile creatures.
そしてゲームの主催者たちもそれをよくわかってる。
And the game's organizers are well aware of that.
今この瞬間も連中は私たちが殺し合いを始めるのを人なめずりしながら待っているわ。
Even now, they're gleefully waiting for us to start killing each other.
そんな連中の思惑通りになって絶対になりたくない。
I'll be damned if I let myself play right into those bastards' hands.
君らを見ていてね、少しだけ自信が湧いた気がするわ。
But after seeing you guys, I've started to think there may be some hope after all.
それはどういたしましてかな。
Well, you're welcome, I guess.
ええ、ありがとう。
Yeah, thanks. Yuna sighed as if to dry something out of her head, and turned back to face Shuhei and Komi with a smile.
よし、こっちはこっちで何とかするから、君らも頑張りなさい。
Okay, we'll make things work out on our end, so good luck, you guys.
困ったことがあればいつでも戻ってくるといいわ。
Feel free to come back here if you're ever in a tight spot.
あ、助かるよ。
Thanks, will do.
はい、ありがとうございます。
Yes, thank you so much. Shuhei and Komi bowed together.
また寂しくなっちゃうよ。
It's gonna get lonely again.
何よ、私もマリコもいるじゃない。
Hey, you still got Mariko and I.
でもせっかく増えた仲間なのに寂しいだけじゃないよ。やっぱり心配だよ。
But we just finally made some new teammates. I'm not just lonely, I'm worried too. All three of them were united on that front. Mariko looked sadly at Shuhei and Kotomi.
またお別れね。それも今度は誤解じゃなくて自分の意志で。
So we're saying goodbye again. Not by accident this time, but by your own will.
ごめんな。でも俺よりきっとユーナの方が頼りになるよ。
I'm sorry, but Yuna is more reliable than me, I'm sure of it.
当たり前よ。マリコもユイも私が守るわ。
Damn right I am. I'll keep Mariko and Yui safe.
だからあんたは琴美をしっかり守るのよ。いいわね。
So you gotta make sure nothing happens to Kotomi either, alright?
あ、
Yeah. Yuna and Mariko smiled at Shuhei's resolve. Yui managed to muster a brave face and spoke in a cheerful voice.
分かったよ。心よく送り出すよ。
Okay then, I'll see you guys off gladly, in that case.
バイバイ、二人とも。最終日にまた会おうね。
Bye guys, let's see each other again the last day.
またね。
Yeah, see you. And with a final wave goodbye, Shuhei and Kotomi left the hut.
いい人たちだったね。
They're good people, huh?
ああ、そうだな。
Yeah, you're right. Though it was entirely possible they'd end up enemies in the future, Shuhei found Yuna and Yui to be pleasant people. Even the somewhat uptight Mariko seemed to mellow out a bit from Yuna's presence. Shuhei had wanted to stay with them if possible, but he couldn't afford to let them get caught up in his risky quest to fulfill his clear condition.
シュウちゃんのクリア条件も早く達成できるといいね。
I hope we can fulfill your clear condition soon.
まだ会ったことのない素数のナンバーは3と ナナとキングの3人かな。
The other primary players we haven't met are the 3, 7, and King, right?
ああ、ユーナたちから聞いた話を整理すると、14人すべてのプレイヤーについてある程度情報が集まったことになる。
Yeah. After putting together everything I heard from Yuna and the others, I've managed to put together all the information I've gathered about the other 14 players.
まだ私たちが会ってないプレイヤーはユウちゃんを助けたっていうボクサーの真島さんと。
Yeah. The ones we haven't met are Majima, that boxer who helped Yui.
あとはユーナが最初に仲間にしようとした刀使いの少女。
There's also that sword girl who Yuna first tried to recruit.
そして昨日会った2人の男だ。あの金髪の名前は確か黒川だったか。
And then there's the 2 guys who met yesterday. That blonde guy's name is Kurokawa, I think?
それでこれからどうするの？
So what do we do now?
真島ってやつと刀使いの少女、この2人を探してみよう。
Let's go try to find Majima and that sword girl.
話ができそうな連中なら交渉してみる価値はある。
I think it's worth trying to negotiate if people seem willing to talk.
とりあえずもう一度配送に行ってみよう。
Let's go check the deserted village again for now.
配送に？どうして？
The village? Why?
さっきまで雨が降ってただろ。雨露をしのぐのに村の家を使っているプレイヤーがいるかもしれない。
It was just raining, right? So there might be players who went to the village to seek shelter from it.
あ、そっか。さすがしゅうちゃん。
Oh, I see. That's so smart, Shuhei. Oh, shoot.
道がぬかるんでるから足元気をつけろよ。
Watch your step. The road's muddy.
わかった。
Yep, got it. And for that exchange, Shuhei and Komi made their way toward the village.
さあ、僕たちもそろそろ動き出そうか。
Alright, I think we should get going ourselves. The downpour from before had ceased, faint light shining down on the earth from the gaps between the clouds. The defense of the mountain cabin base was solid, but if they stay holed up in there, they'd have no way of getting new information. Now that they were united in goals and spirit, this was the perfect time for the team to resume spreading their activity field. With that thought, Tsukasa Mitsubayashi, who was being looked at with confusion by Rei and Hatsune, spoke up to persuade them.
すでに僕らは最低限の食料と武器を手に入れている。
We have already obtained the minimum amount of supplies and weapons.
これから探していくのは僕の勝利条件を確実に満たすための4人目の仲間とジョーカーの PDA の持ち主だ。
After this, we're going to go look for a 4th teammate to secure my win condition, as well as the owner of the Joker PDA.
司私の仇のことを忘れていませんか？
You haven't forgotten my oath of vengeance, have you, Tsukasa?
もちろん分かってるよ。リピーターの捜索も僕らの目的のうちの一つだ。
Of course not. Looking for the repeater is part of our goals.
僕らの？司は関係ないはずでは？
Our? But it's nothing to do with you.
いや、そうとも言えないよ。リピーターと接触できれば僕の知りたい情報はほぼ全て手に入るだろうからね。
No, that's not entirely true. If you can make contact with this repeater, I believe I'll be able to obtain nearly all the information I want.
分からなければ別にいいよ。
Never mind. It's alright if you don't get it. Tsukasa didn't feel like explaining his suspicions about the second stage and his trigger to Rei at this point.
さあ、それじゃあ行こうか。
Alright then, shall we?
今後は他のプレイヤーと接触していくことになるからね。
We'll focus on making contact with other players from now on.
争いになる可能性は常に考えながら行動していこう。
I'll always act on the assumption that a fight could break out. They didn't have too much time until the sun set, but players who had been stopped by the rain may have started moving again. They likely wouldn't be back at the cabin until the next day.
忘れ物はない？
No one's forgotten anything?
私は刀さえあれば十分ですので。
A sword's all I need.
初音も特にないの
Nothing for me either. In terms of equipment, Tsukasa had a handgun, 2 spare magazines, while Rei had her katana. Hatsune was armed with a knife for self-defense. They took only 1 can of food each to reduce their load, and made up for it by taking 5 memory chips with them. They hid the rest of their supplies and weapons by the cabin.
ところで我々はどこに向かうのですか？人がいそうなところに心当たりでもあるのですか？
Incidentally, where shall we venture towards? Do you have an inkling of where the other players could be?
雨をしのげる場所は限られてるからね。
Yes, there are only so many places to keep out of the rain after all.
なるほど。このフィールド内で雨露をしのげそうな場所といえば、
I see. So the best place to take shelter from the rain in this field would be
なのですね。
the village, right?
そう、ご名答。
Yes, precisely. Tsukasa nodded and made for the village of Rei and Hatsune. But right after they made their way down the mountain and entered the village,
二人とも止まってください。
Tsukasa, Hatsune, stop right there. Tsukasa looked puzzled by Rei's sharp warning.
どうかした？
Is something the matter?
この先は危険です。
There's danger lurking ahead. Huh?
凶暴な野獣の気配がします。
I sense a rabid beast.
野獣って。
A beast? And at that moment, a howl bereft of any reason echoed through the village. God fucking damn it! Why ain't there shit here?
ちょっと落ち着いてくれよ、黒川くん。
Calm down, Kurokawa. Calm down. Shut the fuck up. If you got time to talk, then go and find someone useful. The shout was followed up by a voice that sounded like his companion, but the man paid no heed whatsoever.
確かに野獣なのです。
You're right, he is a beast.
思った通り人はいたけど、あまり関わりたくない人種だな。
There are people here like I expected, but not the type I'd rather get mixed up with.
こちらに近づいてきますが、どうしますか？
They're coming this way. What should we do?
そうだな。少し様子を見よう。
Let's see. We'll observe for now. Tsukasa exchanged looks with his teammates, who nodded. They slowly tiptoed toward the source of the howl when... What's going on? Realizing her PDA had rang, Hatsune frantically disengaged her special function. But it was already too late. What the hell? Is someone there? They heard the man running towards them with a fierce roar.
僕としたことがぬかったね。
How sloppy of me. That was careless.
どうします？つかさん。
What do we do, Tsukasa?
そうだね。
Should we run? Or attempt to negotiate? Tsukasa hastily weighed the odds of getting away against a successful negotiation. And in the end, he chose...
よし、ここは逃げよう。
Alright, let's run.
承知。
Understood. Okay. Three of them made a break for the forest as shouts gave them chase. It was doubtful if they'd make it. Regardless, they kept running as fast as they could, knowing it was better than trying to reason with such a creature. Hold it right fucking there!
初音。
Hatsune grabbed her head and leaned over when she heard the gunshot from behind. The man's shot missed by a mile, but...
初音、大丈夫ですか？
Hatsune, are you okay?
足が
My legs!
司、これ以上逃げるのは無理です。受けて立ちましょう。
Tsukasa, we can't run away any farther. We'll have to deal with him here.
了解。
Very well. Hatsune was likely frozen in fear. Tsukasa heaved a great sigh and returned to his teammates.
初音、君は足手まといになりそうだ。ちょっとその辺の建物の陰に隠れててよ。
Hatsune, it appears you've become a burden. Go hide behind one of those buildings over there. Okay. Hatsune crawled into a nearby bush, and right at that moment, their pursuer finally showed himself.
おい、やっと見つけたぞこら。こそこそ逃げ回ってんじゃねえよ。
I finally got you all now. Don't you go scurrying off like rats. A boy in glasses was next to the young man. When they saw each other, Tsukasa and the boy's eyes widened at once.
あれ、白崎先輩ですか？
Oh? Shirosaki, is that you?
司くんかい？
Huh? Tsukasa? The blonde man frowned at that exchange.
ああ、みつるおめえこのガキと知り合いかよ。
Huh? Hey Mitsuru, you know this brat?
ああ、学校の先輩後輩ってだけだけど。
Yes. He's my other classmate at school.
妙なところであったものですね。
It truly is a small world, isn't it? Tsukasa sighed at the unexpected reunion. While they were acquainted with each other, they weren't friends or anything of the sorts. Tsukasa knew the meager relationship they had wouldn't provide much of a benefit to their current situation, so he pressed further.
白崎先輩、そちらの人はお仲間ですか？
Shirosaki, is that your partner?
ああ、黒川くんにはいろいろと世話になっていてね。
Yes. Kurokawa's helped me in all kinds of ways. Judging from Mitsuru's behavior, he was probably his follower, or even forced into it against his will. Whatever the case, it didn't seem like he'd be allying with Tsukasa. The man named Kurokawa took a look at Mitsuru, then returned his attention to Tsukasa.
まあそんなことはどうでもいい。とりあえず持ってるもん全部よこしな。
Well, that shit don't matter. Just fork over everything you guys have.
食い物も武器も PDA も情報も全部だ。
That means your food, weapons, PDAs, information, all of it. Kurokawa pointed his revolver at Tsukasa and smirked menacingly. Tsukasa groaned at this utterly predictable turn of events.
食料だったらちょうど手持ちがある。条件次第では譲っても構わないですよ。
We've got supplies on us. Depending on the conditions, I won't mind handing them over.
おいおいおいおい
Whoa now, hold the fuck on.
俺は今最高に気が立ってんだ。てめえのクソつまらねえギャグに付き合ってる暇はねえんだよ。
I'm beyond pissed off right now. I ain't in the mood for any of your shitty jokes.
黙ってさっさと出せボケ。
Just shut the fuck up and fork it all over, you dumb shit.
素直に出さねえなら
If you don't,
てめえらの死体から漁らせてもらうぜ。
I can always just take it off your bodies, you hear?
いやいや、それじゃあ交渉になってないでしょう。
Oh, that simply won't do. Then we can't negotiate.
あっそう。じゃあな。
Okay, then die. What? Tsukasa hadn't been taking the blonde man seriously. That was all there was to it. But to Tsukasa, it was a completely unexpected turn of events. To compare the act of murder to a number, it was a 100-step process. It was only after much discussing, deliberating, and concluding that was the only way did people take that last resort known as murder. It wasn't like they were looking for a reason to cross that moral border. It was calculated logic that led people to avoid the high-risk method known as murder as much as possible. So Tsukasa, whose mind was firmly set in that mindset, could not understand Kurokawa's reasoning. He'd been sure there was no one out there who could make a split-second decision to kill someone. Meanwhile, Kurokawa started squeezing the trigger. The muzzle faintly shook from the effects of the double-action firing hammer. In half a second, the bullet would fire, and a second later, it would strike Tsukasa. There was nothing he could do about it now. Another millisecond passed, and the bullet began firing. When all of a sudden, an ink-black shadow moved. Ray passed by Tsukasa like a gale and slashed Kurokawa's muzzle, turning it to the skies. What the? Both the hunter and the hunted gasped in surprise. Everyone gawked at the girl brandishing her drawn sword.
Tsukasa, ここは私が預かります。
Tsukasa, let me handle this.
Ray!
Ray?
何をしやがった。
You. What the fuck did you just do? After seeing that blade being drawn at human speed, all the confidence on Kurokawa's face was completely blown away.
その気なら腕を飛ばすこともできました。まだ続けますか?
I could have pleased your arm off too if I felt like it. Do you still wish to continue? You bitch!
遅いですね。
Too slow. What? Tsukasa was dumbfounded beyond words to see Ray so unfazed in the face of a bloodthirsty opponent. No, his mind was completely frozen over. He still couldn't accept the fact that he'd almost been killed. God damn you! Gun and sword clashed as sparks flew. The fact that Kurokawa had the physical strength to resist the sword with a gun was worthy of awe, but didn't change the overwhelming difference between the weapons. The sword was easily pushing the gun back. Kurokawa tried to put some distance between them, but Ray closed the gap in no time. Without any time to even point the gun at Ray, all Kurokawa could do was desperately block Ray's slashes. It was in this presence of that magnificent display that Tsukasa finally regained his wits. She did say she was skilled with a sword. I never expected her to be this good. Looks like all over her debt. Tsukasa unconsciously muttered that as he watched the heated clash. He deemed her an essential member for close-range combat, but he never expected her to be overwhelmed someone much physically stronger than her like Kurokawa. Alright, I suppose I'll do what I can. Tsukasa immediately took out his PDA and copied Kurokawa's special function. Masaki Kurokawa showed a list of all deceased players' names and locations of death. No good. This won't help in battle negotiations. Thinking that, Tsukasa copied the only other person's special function. What is this? Mitsuru Shirosaki. Detonate designated collar of a player within 2 meters. It was a powerful combat-based function, but that wasn't what surprised Tsukasa. Wasn't that Noriko's special function?
Oi, Mitsuru!
Hey, Mitsuru! Damn it. Drawn by Kurokawa's voice, Tsukasa looked to find Rei gradually cornering her opponent to a sticky situation. She clearly had the upper hand. The fuck are you doing? Help me out!
わかった。
Right, on it. Urged by Kurokawa, Mitsuru took out his PDA. This is bad. Rei doesn't know his special function. Don't move! Tsukasa whipped out his pistol and pointed at Mitsuru.
その PDA を捨ててください。少しでも不穏な動きを見せれば迷わず撃ちます。
Drop your PDA. Make even the slightest suspicious movement, and I won't hesitate to shoot.
Mitsuru, 何やってる？早くこの女をぶっ殺せ！
Mitsuru! The fuck's wrong with you? Hurry up and kill this bitch!
だけど。
But... Mitsuru's fingers froze, terrified by Tsukasa's threat. But he still clutched his PDA.
レイ、そいつに近づくな。そいつの特殊機能には君でも勝てない。
Rei, stay away from him. Not even you can be his special function. Rei stopped just as he was about to engage Kurokawa in rapid pursuit and immediately jumped back. You bastards. The four stood completely still, eyeing each other carefully.
司指示を。
Tsukasa, what next?
待って、考えて。
Hold on, I'm thinking. Kurokawa was very strong. He was around the same level as Rei. But Mitsuru had a killer special function that was a death sentence for anyone who carelessly approached him. Damn it.
司、どうしました？
Tsukasa, your orders? With all of them possessing the power to fight back against one another, Tsukasa couldn't see how to get out of this without any casualties. No matter how many times he reran simulations in his head, the results stayed the same. Beads of sweat dripped down Tsukasa's forehead, and the composure was wiped off his face. His own overconfidence and several minor mistakes he carelessly made have resulted in the worst possible situation. As a result of everyone's combat skills, special functions, and speculations coming together, they were all locked in a stalemate. None of them could move or speak. Breaking through the deadlock itself was simple. But when it broke, it would be Rei who died, or... What a bad joke. How am I supposed to make that choice? The dark of the night soon descended upon them. Okay, here we go. By the time Shuhei Fujita heard that sound, he was finally close enough to the village to look down at it from above.
今の音って、もしかして。
Wasn't that sound?
ああ、銃声だな。
Yeah, a gunshot. There were people in the village, just as Shuhei expected. But for good or for ill, those players were fighting with each other.
どうするの？
What should we do?
そうだな。もう少し近づいて様子を探ってみよ
Let's see. Why don't we get a little closer to take a better look?
う。もし手遅れになって死者が出たら元も子もないからな。
If we're too late and someone dies, it'll all have been for nothing. Okay. Isn't that...
黒川っていう人と
That's Kurokawa. And that's...
司くん？
Shuhei and Kotomi found Kurokawa and Tsukasa locked in a stalemate. Near them were a boy with glasses and a girl wielding a katana, staring each other off. The latter was likely the sword girl Yuna had talked about. Furthermore, Hatsune was hiding in the thicket, holding her PDA as she watched.
あの状況はかなりまずいな。
Things are going really bad. It was clear from a glance they were in a powder keg situation. Some exchanged glares filled with bloodlust, while others flinched in fear. What surprised Shuhei the most was how the cunning and shrewd Tsukasa had created such an unfavorable situation. Either the growth in his team had made him careless, or maybe he'd underestimated Kurokawa's brutality. Whatever the case, Tsukasa's expression lacked its trademark composure.
しゅうちゃん、みんなの目怖いよ。これじゃこのままじゃ。
Shoo, everyone's eyes are so scary. If this keeps up...
聞いてくれ。
Kotomi, listen carefully.
これまで俺が自分の耳で聞いて目で見て考えた結果だ。
This is the conclusion I've reached based on what I've heard and seen so far.
いくつも仮説を立てながら推論を繰り返して導き出した答えだ。
My answer is based on repeated speculation from several hypotheses. Okay.
14人のプレイヤーのうちもし誰か一人でも命を落とせばこのゲームは次の段階へ移行する。
I believe that if one of the 14 players dies, this game will move into its next stage.
次の段階？どういうこと？
Next stage? What are you talking about?
それがどういった内容かまではわからない。
I'm not exactly sure what it entails.
だけどこのクソったれなゲームを運営してる連中が考えることだ。
But it was thought up by those bastards who are running this damn game.
今よりもっとひどい地獄のような惨状が始まるのは間違いない。
Sorry about that, I was taking a quick drink break. There's no doubt it'll be the start of a tragic hell even worse than what we've been through so far.
そんな。
No way!
ユーナはそれを阻止しようとしていた。だからあいつがこの状況にいれば間違いなく止めに入る。
Yuna's been trying to prevent that. If she were here now, she'd definitely be trying to stop it, no doubt about it.
それはそうかもしれないけど。
Maybe you're right, but...
ユーナの言うことを 100% 信じるつもりはない。あいつ自身まだ正体のわからない怪しいプレイヤーだからな。
I don't completely trust everything Yuna said. She's still a suspicious player of a big secret.
だけど俺はあいつの言葉をある程度だけ信じてみようと思ってる。
But I think we can trust what she said to a certain extent.
ユーナの目的を覚えている。
Remember what her goal was? Yeah.
このゲームから誰一人として死者を出さないこと。
It was to keep anyone in this game from dying.
ことみ、お前はそれをどう思う？
What do you think, Tomi?
そんなこと私は。
That's... Shuhei knew what her answer would be without even hearing it. Kotomi was the kind of person who would have approved of Yuna's idea from the start. Everyone survives. She sincerely wished for that ideal outcome more than anyone. But right now, Kotomi was worried. Her curvy eyelashes framed her eyes, warped in fear and uncertainty. She understood what Shuhei was getting at. She knew exactly what would happen if she said yes.
私しゅうちゃんと
I want us to...
俺は司たちの争いを止めに行く。
Kotomi, I'm going to stop the fight. Yuna's words bit at Shuhei's mind. Don't go thinking a gun makes you a hero. In the end, it's merely a tool to protect others. You didn't need to be told that to know. But regardless,
琴美はここに残ってくれ。たとえ俺の身に何が起きても、絶対にこの場所から動くんじゃない。
stay here, Kotomi. You mustn't move from the spot no matter what happens to me.
いいな。
Okay? No.
嫌だよそんなの嫌だ
No. I don't want that.
さっきの銃声はユーナたちの山小屋にも届いたはずだ。
You and the others should have heard that gunshot.
あいつはおせっかいだからな。きっとこの事態に駆けつけてくる。
She's a busybody, so I'm sure she's on her way even as we speak.
それまで時間を稼げばいい。それだけだ。
All I have to do is buy time until then.
今ここで戦いを止めないといけないんだ。それができるのは俺しかいない。
Someone has to stop the fight right now. I'm the only one who can do that.
だけど
But...
ずっと一緒にいようって約束したよね
Didn't we promise we'd always be together?
もう危ないことをしないって約束したよね
Didn't you promise you wouldn't put yourself in danger again?
大丈夫。俺は死なない。
Don't worry. I won't die.
生きてお前の元へ帰ってくるか
I'll survive and come back to you.
ら。約束だ。
I promise.
約束
Promise?
あ、
Yeah. After a few moments, Kotomi raised her head, still keeping her silence. Finally, she mustered her strength, wiped away her tears, and looked back at Shuhei.
しゅうちゃんは嘘つき
You're such a liar.
そうだな。
You're right about that.
私はいつでもしゅうちゃんのことを心配してるのに全然察してくれないし私の言うことなんてちっとも聞いてくれない
I'm always worrying about you, that you never catch on, don't listen to a word I say.
いつも自分勝手で意地っ張り
You're always so selfish and stubborn.
自覚はあるけど、あまり直す気はないんだ。
I'm aware of it, but I don't feel very inclined to change that.
だけど今回だけは本当に約束だから
But this time, if no other time else, keep your promise.
あ、
I will.
絶対守って
You'd better keep it. The pair took their hands, taking in the other's warmth. After that brief moment, Shuhei reluctantly let go of Kotomi and ran off towards the village.
私うまくいくって信じてるから
I know you can do it! I believe in you!
ありがとう。
Thank you. Shuhei checked the pistol in his hands, his SOCOM. It was loaded. He also received 12 spare bullets as a parting gift from Yuna. He'd rather not use them if possible, but never hurt to be prepared. Just to be safe, he switched his PDA special function on. He was all set. Shuhei took a deep breath. He wiped his sweat with the hand he held the SOCOM in. Knowing he couldn't suppress his skyrocketing heartbeat, Shuhei prayed for himself to calm down and took another deep breath. that breath.
全員その場を動けな。
Alright, everyone, freeze! He shouts at everyone around him, breaking the deadlock.
あれは藤田先輩。
Is that Fujita?
ああ、てめえは
Huh? You're...
黒川、武器を捨てるんだ。おかしな動きを見せたら構わず射殺する。
Kurokawa, drop your weapon. Any funny moves and I'll shoot to kill. Shuhei pointed his gun at Kurokawa and took a step closer. Everyone there was shocked by Shuhei's sudden appearance, restlessly looking back and forth at one another.
司、俺に協力しろ。あいつを拘束する。
Tsukasa, cooperate with me. Tie that guy up.
大胆ですね。藤田先輩はもう少し慎重な人だと思っていましたが。
Such audacity. And here I thought you were a little more cautious than this.
ああ、俺も意外だ。
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised myself.
とにかくここで死人を出すわけにはいかない。この意味がお前にならわかるはずだ。
Anyway, I can't afford to let anyone die here. I'm sure you get what I mean.
セカンドステージへのトリガーですか？
The trigger for the second stage, I take it?
そうだ。14人のプレイヤーが1人でも欠けた時点でこのゲームはセカンドステージへ移行する。
Right. Once one of the 14 players is lost, this game will move into its second stage.
信憑性のある情報ですか？
Is that information credible?
ほぼ間違いない。俺はそう確信している。
There's little doubt about it. I'm sure of that.
なるほど。
I see. If Tsukasa thought logically, he'd come to realize that siding with Shuhei was the obvious choice. If Shuhei won Tsukasa over as an ally, then the deadlock would collapse. Then Kurokawa would likely come to realize he was at a disadvantage and surrender. In fact, just the previous day, he'd abandoned Shuhei and run once he realized he didn't stand a chance. Shuhei's calculations should have been perfect. But the struggle was broken from an unexpected angle.
てめえらそいつに騙されてんじゃねえよ。
Don't be fooled by that son of a bitch.
俺は知っているぞ。てめえが一人でメモリーチップを独占していることをな。
I know the truth. You're keeping all the memory chips to yourself.
何？
What?
それだけじゃねえ。お前は運営と取引してこのゲームから一人だけ生き残ろうとしているそうだな。
That ain't all. You made a deal with the administrator to survive this game all by yourself.
何を言ってる？俺は
What the hell are you talking about?
聞いたんだ。あんたが運営の連中とゲームの報酬について話していた。
Yeah. I heard you talk to the administrator about a reward for this game. The boy with glasses spoke up from behind Kurokawa, as if trying to remind himself that he was there too. A reward for this game? Shuhei dug through his memories. He then recalled that in his exchange with the administrator after the briefing, he had indeed alluded to a reward for winning the game. Depending on how one heard it, it wasn't entirely unreasonable for someone to interpret that as Shuhei making a deal with the administrator. But how does this guy know that? The only ones who were supposed to be listening on that were Tsukasa and Hitomi.
違う。それは誤解だ。
No, you've got it all wrong. It wasn't like that.
こいつ運営と内通してたことを認めやがったぜ。
So you admit you conspired with the administrator.
ぶっちゃけ俺もこの話には半信半疑だったんだ。まあ本人が認めちゃ信じねえわけにはいかねえわな。
To be blunt, I suspected that story might be all bullshit. But if the man self-admits it, then I guess I have to believe it.
で、スカサっつったかてめえ。
So yeah, anyway, Tsukasa, or whatever your name was. Kurokawa's gaze shifted over to Tsukasa.
てめえもあいつとグルなんだろ
You're in cahoots with the son of a bitch too, aren't you?
何のことだか。
Whatever do you mean?
わかりやすいんだよな。こんなゲームの中、女連れで歩きやがって。
It's pretty fucking clear to me. You're walking around with a goddamn gaggle of girls in this game.
どうせてめえがうまく口車に乗せて味方につけたんだろ
You must have won him over with some pretty sly words, am I right?
そこの女とも随分お楽しみだったそうじゃねえかな。
Looks like to me you've been having a fucking party of them chicks, eh?
勝手な推論で僕の仲間を混乱させないでもらえるかな。
I ask that you not confound my companions with those wild fantasies you've concocted.
かわいそうだよな。最後には全員まとめてあの世行きだってのによ。
Poor bastards. You're all gonna die in the end anyway.
そもそもてめえらバカなのか。ちった足りねえ脳みそで考えてみろや。
Besides, do you guys have fucking shit for brains? Quit being dumbasses for 1 second, think it over.
この状況で何仲良しごっこやってんだよ。信じねえ関係ねえじゃねえか。
Why the fuck are you guys all trying to play nice in a game like this? Trust or no trust? That don't mean shit.
最後に信じられるのは自分だけだ。それ以外の何者でもねえ。
The only one you can trust in the end is yourself. No one more, and no one less. Tsukasa raised the revolver high in the air and bellowed with laughter. I say overwhelmed Shuhei, Tsukasa, and anyone else there who saw it. A repulsive sight that sent shivers down their spine. The form of a beast.
おい、ミツル、あいつ撃て。
Hey, Mitsuru. Waste him. Kurokawa gestured to Shuhei.
だけど
But I... The girl facing off against Mitsuru gritted her teeth.
その女はてめえを切れねえよ。誰が敵かもわからねえこの状況で下手に動いたら命に関わるもんな。
That girl ain't gonna cut you. No one knows who's the enemy in this situation, so one wrong move means you're dead.
あ
Do it.
わかったよ
Alright. Mitsuru pointed his gun at Shuhei. However, the girl still didn't move. Deceived by Kurokawa's words, Shireki no longer saw Shuhei as an ally. And what's more, Kurokawa's proclamations weren't just mere delusions. It was a fact they had learned from someone that Shuhei talked to the administrator in secret. Meaning there was a player out there who goaded Kurokawa on to foster conflict between the players. But who did it, and why? Damn it! A gunshot passed right by Shuhei. And with that spark, the situation took a turn for the worse. The girl and Tsukasa reacted immediately, hiding themselves to use the nearby buildings for cover. As they did that, Kurokawa closed the distance with Shuhei at ferocious speed.
てめえそこ動くんじゃねえぞ。
Don't you fucking move, you bastard! Shuhei frantically tried to set his sights on Kurokawa. He'd practiced shooting multiple times, but trying to aim at a moving target was just as difficult as he'd feared. Still, he somehow managed to set his sights accurately. There were 5 meters between himself and Kurokawa. With his target so close, it would almost be impossible for Shuhei to miss. Shuhei began to squeeze the trigger, but he didn't pull it. He couldn't pull it, because the sights were aimed right at Kurokawa's forehead. It would be a fatal shot, in all senses of the word. And with Shuhei completely out of countermeasures, Kurokawa's fist crashed right into his face. Shuhei was blown back, dropping the gun from the impact. He slid on a puddle of muddy water, rolling back disgracefully several meters. Where's the gun? Damn it, I can't find it. Shuhei managed to make it under the overhang of a deserted house, but he couldn't find the SOCOM. His only chance would be to give up on his counterattack and get away as quickly as possible. Shuhei managed to lift his dizzy head and sprung off. Well now, what's this? Trying to run away? Where all that might of yours goes, huh? Where might of yours go, huh? Shuhei ran to the forest to escape Kurokawa's pursuit. But it wasn't long before Shuhei was caught. Come on, take some of this! Looks like you bit off more than you can chew, you son of a bitch. Shuhei was knocked down to the muddy earth and kicked across the ground even further. He gripped his wounded stomach, unable to do anything but groan. Now then. Hey look, I ain't a savage. Just hand over all your memory chips. Oh yeah, and your PDA too. Fork him over and I'll spare your life. Only your life will be spared. Can't say the same about your arms and legs, you hear me? Fuck you. Hey, you think I'm some joke? You think I won't kill you? Hand them over. You got balls, I'll give you that. Well, we'll see how long that lasts. Go to hell. Okay, then die. Kurokawa snorted with boredom and wrapped his hands around Shuhei's throat. And 1 second later, he began strangling him with all his might. Shuhei's air ducts were rapidly crushed. Kurokawa's fingers were digging into his throat. Shuhei's line of sight shook, an icy chill ran through him, and his ears started ringing. The inside of his nose grew heavy, and he quickly began losing consciousness. He tried to pry Kurokawa's hands off him, but everything he did was in vain. I'm dead. I'm going to die right here. Kotomi. I'm sorry. I was a liar all the way to the end. I won't be able to keep my promise. All of a sudden, the weight in Shuhei's throat vanished all at once. Light returned to his blackening consciousness in the blink of an eye. Shuhei coughed violently. His throat rang loudly, desperate for oxygen. Thanks to that repeating process and the pain in his breath, Shuhei finally realized he was still alive. Why? Why did Kurokawa let go of him when he'd been so close? Shuhei endured the nausea welling up in him and sat up, only to find Kurokawa groaning while holding his shoulder. Vivid red blood ran down his tanned skin. The gunshot Shuhei had heard moments ago must have hit him. Who saved me? Shuhei looked around slowly. He quickly spotted Tsukasa and Rei. It appeared they'd been concerned about the situation, come to check up on Shuhei. But judging from their expressions, they hadn't been the ones who'd saved him. Yuna was also nearby. She'd come running, just as Shuhei predicted. But there was no smoke rising from her drawn gun. Then who? Just then, Shuhei spotted another figure. Kotomi held Shuhei's dropped gun with trembling hands. The muzzle was pointing straight at Kurokawa, faint trails of smoke still rising from it. All sound faded from Shuhei's world. The pain he felt also vanished without a trace. Little by little, the sight before him and his memories came together. Kotomi's player number was 6. Her clear condition was, do not harm other players than 2 numbers more or less than your own. And Kurokawa's player number was 8. Kurokawa rose to his feet while holding his wounded shoulder and disappeared into the thicket.
Kotomi?
ごめん。しゅうちゃんだけは死なせたくなかったから。
Sorry, but I just couldn't let you die, Shu.
なんで
Why?
やっぱり鳴り出しちゃった。
It really did ring, huh?
嘘だろ
No. No. Shuhei still hadn't snapped out of his confusion. The worst alarm clock in the world had rung. Despite that, he still wasn't waking up from the nightmare before him. Tears trailed down Kotomi's cheeks.
何やってんだよ。
What have you done?
ごめんねしゅうちゃん。
I'm sorry. Shu.
どうして琴美がここにいるんだよ。
What are you doing here?
約束守れなかったの私の方だね。
Looks like I was the one who couldn't keep her promise. Huh? Shuhei pressed his hands on the ground, raised his knees, and got up. He called forth all the power in his body and dashed forward with all his might.
ダメよ周平。
No, Shuhei!
離せ。
What? Let me go! Then his body was held back. Kotomi was right in front of him, and he couldn't even run to her.
私ここまでみたい。
It looks like this is it for me.
違う。琴美が死ぬわけが。
No! You can't die!
クリア条件の達成が不可能となりました。首輪を爆破します。
Your clear condition is now impossible to fulfill. Your collar will detonate.
やっぱりちょっと怖いかも。
Guess I really am scared after all.
ダメだ琴美。今助けるから。
Don't say that, Kotomi! I'm gonna save you now!
来ちゃダメだよしゅうちゃん。
Stay away, Shu!
もう無理だから。
It's too late for me. You know?
無理なんかじゃない。これで終わりなんかじゃない。だから。
No! It's not! It's not gonna end here! So...
私しゅうちゃんと会えて本当によかった。
You know, I'm really glad I met you.
琴美。
しゅうちゃん。
Kotomi called his name lovingly. With the same melodic voice she'd called out to him countless times before. At first, he'd found it unbelievably annoying. However, she'd continued to persist, and eventually, he caved in and started responding to her. But eventually, that became second nature for him, and eventually, necessary. That voice brought him life. Gave him the power to live. And it wasn't just her voice. I needed all that Kotomi was.
しゅうちゃん
Hey, Shu.
琴美。
大丈夫。後悔なんてしてないよ。
It's okay. I have no regrets.
だってしゅうちゃんのこと守れたんだもん。
Because I saved you.
琴美。
Being by her side was like air to him. Shuhei thought she'd never leave him or look away from him. Yet Kotomi had mustered courage and saved me. Because I was the same to her. That was why Kotomi hadn't hesitated to shoot.
今までありがとうねしゅうちゃん。
Thanks for everything, Shu. No, don't say that. It's not over yet. Right, because I
お前を。
swore would protect you.
バイバイ。
琴美
The rain had resumed once again. Those caught in its mist didn't dare speak a word. They just stared at the scene before them as time passed cruelly by. Shuhei approached Kotomi with faltering footsteps. She was the only thing in his view. Her body was lying in an ever-spreading red sheet.
琴美
Shuhei reached his arms out to her as he called her name. He gently stroked her hair and held her close. He fell to his knees and embraced the woman he held dear with all his might. A warm red soaked into his body.
琴美
He swallowed his words. He tried to call her name again, but his voice fell right back down to his throat. A scream that threatened to rip his very body asunder echoed through the woods. Over and over again. The world was dyed crimson with that despair that made all want to cover their ears. But the rain just continued to fall, as if the sky were shedding tears of sorrow.
参加者の死亡によりステージがランクアップしました。
Due to a participant's death, the stage has been upgraded.
ただいまよりゲームはセカンドステージに突入します。
The game's second stage will commence henceforth. Player number 4, Shuhei Fujita. Clear condition. All prime numbered players fulfill their conditions. Their clear conditions.
クリア条件が更新されています。各自パーソナルデータを確認してください。
Your clear conditions have been updated. All players, please check your personal data at this time. Death of all prime numbered players. A round heap of dug up dirt piled up. The rain continued. Oops, there was a lag, sorry. The rain continued to fall quietly, prominently dyeing the earth before vanishing into it. Shuhei tightly gripped his fists and stood up.
周平
The whole time he had been burying Kotomi, Shuhei hadn't said a word to the others, who'd left the place one by one. In the end, only Yuna was left. Several beats after Yuna called his name, Shuhei turned towards her.
こんな時に言うのは酷かもしれないけど、まだゲームは終わっていないのよ。
I know this might be a horrible thing to say at a time like this, but the game isn't over yet.
全員のクリア条件が新たなものに更新された。ここからは血で血を洗う本当の殺し合いが始まるわ。
Everyone's clear conditions have been updated. From this point on, it's going to turn into a real bloodbath between the players.
こうなってはもう誰も銃の引き金を引くことを戸惑わない。
With this, no one's going to hesitate to pull the trigger on others.
撃てなければ自分が死ぬだけ。戦わなければ生き残れない。本当の地獄が待っているだけ。
If you don't shoot, you'll be killed, and if you don't fight, all that awaits is a true hell on earth you can't escape from alive.
励ましも慰めも今は何も聞こえないかもしれない。
Anything I say to encourage or console you might fall on deaf ears at this time.
だけどいつまでもここで膝をついているわけにはいかないの。
But you can't wallow in this place forever.
全員の生存はもう叶わない。だけど私はできる限りたくさんの命を救いたい。
It's already too late to save everyone, but I still want to save as many as possible.
そのために周平、あなたの力を。
For that, Shuhei, I need your help.
うるさい
Shut up.
愛する人を失った悲しみは私にもわかるわ。だからって自暴自棄にならないで。
I know the sorrow of losing the person you love as well, and there's no reason to give in to despair.
あなたは生き残らなければならないの。
You have to survive.
それが彼女の琴美の最後の願いだったはずだから。
I'm sure that was her. I'm sure that was Kotomi's last wish. Shuhei stewed over those words for a few seconds, and then spoke in the voice that sounded like a crawl from the depths of the earth.
そう琴美がいないんだ。
She's gone now.
世界のどこを探しても琴美がいない。
No matter how hard I search the world, Kotomi's gone.
いないんだ。またなくしてしまったんだ。
She's gone. I've lost everything. All over again.
だから
So I.
周平、あなたまさか。
Shuhei. No, you can't mean. As if to cut off her words, Shuhei drew his gun on Yuna.
俺にはもう誰も必要ない。
I don't need anyone anymore.
仲間ごっこはもう終わりだ。
I'm done playing nice with you people. Alright, so we're gonna leave it off here. So, yeah. Pretty big moment to leave off on. I honestly don't really know what to say at a time like this. Except, shit's hit the fan, I guess. Alright, so until next time, I'll see you all later.